Good evening, and welcome to True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the DUG Pack. Well, despite everything going on, got a good host coming on tonight. You know,
Don't be loud, man.
I'm not.
You hear me?
Yeah,
Now the neighbors be saying they be hearing you late night, yo.
I know. They told me today.
Huh?
They told me earlier today. I'm gonna just wait for people to get in the chat. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just waiting for people to get in there. I'm giving people time enough to get in the chat because I'm like I said, we live now. I'm still waiting for people to get in the chat. I'm gonna have to stop this. I'm gonna have to stop this. Call me through Messenger. Hey everybody, don't forget to hit the like button. He went on his hey Jamal, he went on his page to make a post. Well, he went to make a to let everybody know. Black Order, what's up? Yeah, I think we ironed out the differences, man. You know. Or if he show up, the wrench is took. You already know. Tom, Tommy man, Tommy my boy. Yeah, so this gonna be a good one though. I'm just waiting on him. What's up, fam? Yeah. He had called me and asked me if he wanted to do it tonight. So I'm like, man, let's do it. Let's do it. Don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. Let's do it. Put this difference to the side. Start putting in some work together. You know what I mean? And just make a difference. That's what's up, Nude. That's what's up, Marquetta. Hey, if Southern guy don't show up tonight, man, I'm gonna just go ahead and probably just had to get rid of him. Cause he done missed about the last four. That's what's up. That's what's up, Easy Design. Tell her right back at her. Might get a good turnout because he trying to get a lot of his peoples over here, so it might turn out good, you know what I mean? Hopefully it will. I mean, yeah, he might be caught up, but it's been what we did about four lives and he ain't show up. I mean, but I give him the benefit of the doubt though. Oh, it's one more person though, that's been causing trouble. I ain't gonna say it on the air, but I tell y'all. Y'all probably already know who it is. That's what's up, Tom. Don't forget to hit that like button, y'all. I'm waiting on him because I know he's making a post now, or he might be making a live on YouTube. So, just give him a little time, bad with him, but say he'll be here, just want to let his peoples know. I'ma see though. I'ma see if he making it. And who knows? We might get him to tell an encounter after we say what we gotta say. We might even tell an encounter. Hey, Sidalicious. I know he can ready to come over here. He letting people know. They say he live now, y'all. So he letting them know. And then he gonna come over. So, you know what I mean? Just bear with us. You know what I mean? Hit that like button, y'all. He live now. Yep, I said. I'm gonna let y'all hear it. So y'all know what he's saying and stuff. So hold on.
So y'all know what he's saying.
Wait a minute, hold up. I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know what he's saying.
Wait a minute, hold up.
You know what? I pull my own live up, but hold up. Let me get him on here. Let me get him on here. Oh, he just texted me. I'm gonna say no. You can call the phone. Wait a minute. He just texted me, y'all. Wait a minute. He just texted me. He should put a question mark. Hold up. Yeah, you can. It don't matter. Or you can call the phone. Either one. Either one. All right. They say live, so let me go over there and see. Don't forget hit the like button, y'all.
Oh, I'm gonna let y'all know what he's saying. Wait a minute, hold up. You know what? I put my own live.
Trying to see if you on here. Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm trying to see. They say he live, so I'm trying to find him. Oh no, that's not it. Let me text it in. Hold up, y'all. Paranormal Roundtable. Yeah, he live. He telling it now. Hold on.
Hello, everyone. This is Josh Turner, aka Wolf. Hope everybody's having a very nice Friday night. I have had a very strange Friday. We had a leak in our studio, so we had to go up there and get all the equipment out because it's been constantly raining.
He calling now, y'all. Hold on. Hello?
Marvin?
Yep.
Are we,
Yeah, we good. We good. We good.
Good. Let's see if I can pull up the live chat. There we go. Can everybody out there hear me?
Let them know if y'all can hear him. They say yes.
Good. Obviously, that's good. So, do you want to begin, or do you want me to talk? Or
I can begin. As y'all notice, this go back last year, due to somebody else, and I didn't take time out to realize that this person was trying to, turn me and him against each other. I just reacted, you know what I mean? Coming from where I'm from, I just reacted, and we went back and forth, not gaining nothing. Only the people that started was gaining, So I said some things, real nasty things, and y'all know y'all heard my lives, And I made a public apology. And, you know, and I told him I was sorry to him, his wife, his nephew, you know, his whole family, because I was wrong. And at the end of the day, it take a bigger man to apologize. So, and with that, you know, and then I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry.
You know, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry too. I mean, I didn't, I felt like, that the way things were, that I didn't have anything to apologize for. But when we talked today, I do realize that we have a lot more in common than it's eye opening. When you were doing your live stream the last couple nights before last night, it was actually kind of amusing because some of the things you were saying.
Right.
Some of the things you were saying were pretty horrible, and I'm going to say this, folks, and you're probably not going to understand this, completely, but when you've been where I've been, and when you've been where Marvin's been, and you've been through the wars, and you've been through all the crap in your life that you've done and dealt with, people saying things like what Marvin was saying is like, yeah, it's bad. It's not, but it's like I've been stabbed twice and I nearly died. Marvin, you've been through hell, and we've both been through all kinds of stuff. And so it's like, compared to what I've been through and what I've done and what I've seen, some people saying some hurtful words or whatever is nothing. I mean, it's really like nothing to guys like us. It ain't. It's just some shit talk.
Right.
But like to the average person, they're like, oh my God, it's mortifying to hear somebody talking and saying all this crazy shit.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I can say this, that I know that you were just angry, and then I saw it in your eyes that you were hurt.
Right.
And that's when I started to wake up and realize, I never judged you for your past. I was not responsible, and I want your listeners to know this, for that releasing of your police records, whatever. That was chicken shit. I wasn't involved in that. I condemned that, and anybody who tried to post it on our stuff, I got rid of it. I said, look, man, and as far as that goes, everybody's got a freaking past, I don't condemn you for your past. I don't look down. That's not even an issue for me.
Right.
That is not the issue. The issue was never you or your past.
Right.
I never had a problem with that. And I'm gonna start with that. Like I don't have a problem with you, the way you tell stories. My main problem, I'll get to that in a minute, had nothing to do with that.
Right.
And the way you handle yourself, or you carry yourself, or you're from the streets, dude. You're like me. We went. I have a couple family members that are very similar to you, and I told you about this, Marvin, and they have had problems with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
They have had issues with drugs and alcohol. I mean, and it's a demon that you fight constantly. You don't ever stop being an addict. And that's not an issue for me. I still love them dearly, and I take care of them. I help them. I do everything I can for them. So that part right there, I don't attack you for that. I don't judge you for that. Anybody who does, then that's bullshit. My problem, like I said, I tried to explain it to you today. I said we got played. Okay, right. I should have been man enough to come on a long time ago and tell you that we got played, and I should have admitted it, but I didn't want to admit that this person outsmarted me, and they did. I'm not gonna lie, they did. They really did.
Right.
And I kept telling people there was a third person involved besides you and Vic that was involved, and I don't even want to give this person any publicity because they are, to me, him and his little group of punks are some of the worst people in this community, and they instigated something between you and Ryan's, I guess, ex-girlfriend. As far as I understand, that it was a different name that was used. That's why I wasn't registering who it was. But yeah, and I told Ryan when this happened that this individual was a villain, and that he was Two-Face, and he was playing him. But Ryan's a good guy. He's a very loyal person, and he tried to stand by that person, even though that person was screwing with him. And he's the one that set you up, Marvin, and I told you that.
Yeah, you did.
And we talked about that about a year ago, about this whole...
Absolutely right. You told me that he putting you out there under the bus. like you messing with the girl, you know, and but it's like it didn't even register.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it was. It's one of those things where, like, you know, Ryan is a very good-hearted and good person. I know you have had your issues with him, but it all began with that. But my issue with you didn't begin with that. My issue with you, you know, began with, first of all, I felt like you didn't listen to me when I tried. Neither one of y'all did when I tried to tell you what was going on with this person. So I gave up, and then finally Ryan realized it. Now I want to clarify something about that. You admitted to me like a man, like a real man. You told me like a real man. You said, "Look, I messed up. I made a mistake. I told a couple of these encounters not completely correct because I write them down, and I didn't, you know, and I understand that you didn't remember them correctly. I get that. You made a mistake. It was an honest mistake. It happens. I was accused of it once before, too. One time. I've only been accused of it once, and it turned out, and I told you this, Marvin, I told you the absolute truth, and I'm telling you folks right there at home listening that this happened. She came out in one of the groups and said, Josh Channon didn't tell my story correctly, blah, blah, blah. And so I asked her, what part did I not tell? And she gave details that I never got. This woman she never told me that. And I was like, and so I started arguing with her, and I said, this looks stupid. I'm not going to sit here in this group and argue with this woman. So what ended up happening, I went to one of the admins of that particular group, and I asked her to deal with this person, because this person. So then I end up getting PM'd by this person, and then she tells me that she's got issues. Like she takes medication and some other stuff. So then that compromises her whole story. So when I had gone back to Mr. Cundiff with this situation, which I explained to Marvin and Bettina earlier, and I told them what was going on. Well, he wasn't going to change his tune. He wasn't going to go back and take the story and change it, whatever. Because I said, I don't know if this person is legit. You know, like, that's when I first realized that, honestly, he didn't really care. He didn't give a crap.
Right.
It's one of those things where he don't care whether or not it's real or it's legit or whatever. And so when I went to him and tried to talk to him about the people that had said that you had messed up their stories to, which you admitted to, which takes a big man to do that. That's a hard, I mean, you told me, yeah, I screwed up a couple times. But when I tried talking to him about it, he didn't care. He did nothing about it, and he did the same thing to me, and then I thought, okay, this guy doesn't give a crap, you know?
Right.
And it made me mad that he didn't even discuss it with you, which he could have discussed it with you and said, hey, Marvin, you know, we should go back and redo this, do it correctly, like be honest and be correct, you know.
Right.
But I came to the realization, just as you have, that this individual doesn't care about us, doesn't care about our stories, whatever, as long as he gets his views and he gets whatever it is that he wants. And when we talked about that earlier, you know, you told me the same thing I'm saying to the audience right now, you know, that we feel played, we feel used, not just by him, but that other individual, because the real beef, there was no real beef between us. Honestly, it was like what other people were doing and saying, and it was in particular these two individuals, and I'm not going to blame it all on Big Cundiff either, because it was another individual that originally touched it all off.
Yeah, he set it off.
Yeah, he set it off. It was like a powder keg already, and then boom. You know, and then when you're in the day-to-day hustle and bustle trying to get things done, I got a job, I got a business I run, I have 2 jobs actually, and I'm trying to do a show and all this other stuff. Stuff gets lost. You don't get time to sit there and go back, and you got to focus on what you're doing, and I'm always doing something. And so, you know, Marvin, you got kind of put on the back burner, and I was like, well, I don't have time to sit there and go back with this dude and try to, you know, talk to this guy and find out how or why he messed up the stories. You know, I just was angry. I was like, you know, this makes me angry. I don't know what that is. That your notification bell?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to turn them off. Yeah, I'm getting ready to turn them off because I'm getting tired of. I'm tired of them myself. So I'm getting ready to turn them off. But you can go ahead and finish talking, though.
Yeah. So. And correct me if I'm saying anything wrong that we didn't talk about earlier, but feel free to say if you don't agree with it, just say that, because this is what we talked about earlier. I'm just telling everybody what was said between us.
Right.
And so, you know, we came to the conclusion that this individual, who I have decided, and Marvin, you can do what you want. You can, you're your own man.
Right.
And I actually respected that the other day when you said that. That actually was something that I liked, even though you were talking trash about me. I'm a very pragmatic guy, and I was laughing about some of the shit you were saying because it was kind of funny.
Yeah, you did.
I'm going to be honest.
You did, because you was on your live laughing too. You was like, man, I ain't got time for Marvin.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I was kind of laughing about this shit, and I was just like, here's the thing. I mean, it was like, you said some things, but you came real with it, and you were like me, when we were talking about you were talking about the sit down and all that, and you were like, we're not, you told me today, it's like we talked, we're not children.
Right.
We don't have to be sat down by somebody and told, hey, behave, y'all talk it out, whatever. I was going to talk it out with you, but it was going to be on my time when I was ready to talk to you by yourself. We had a mediator, though. We had Bettina Moss in there. She came in there and she talked, and we discovered some other things about certain people who we thought were,
absolutely.
They were playing both sides, man. Yeah, we got some people that were, I went back and I looked and I was like, oh, the sweet lovey-dovey comments to me, and then they're doing the same thing to you, and then they're coming back and saying things to me that they're saying to you, yeah, we got you. We saw you. I mean, we uncovered it, and I was like, I knew it was happening, and you did too. We just had to figure it out, And people want to see this WWE show go on, and it's not.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, they want to watch wrestling. Go watch pro wrestling, dude. We're here to talk about cryptids, paranormal, and shit like that. We're not here to beef and body slam each other in a ring, dude. This is not a soap opera, but it's becoming one. And it's hurting us because we're not here for that kind of entertainment. People come to hear the stories, not to hear this bullshit between people. And, you said some pretty bad things. I mean, like the comments, some of them were pretty rough. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's like if I can't handle somebody saying some mean things, then I'm pretty bad. I mean, I must not be able to handle it. But the problem, though, is when somebody says something about me on the day my mom died, that wasn't you. You didn't do that. You didn't say that anything about when my mom died. Like that's not coming from you. That was coming from somebody else. That was Cundiff, and so it really something will always stick in my craw. And that man knew. They said, oh, he didn't know, blah, blah, blah. Nah, thing is, I'm pretty sure he did. And even if he didn't, once he figured it out, he still could have given me condolences and said, hey, I'm sorry that this happened, blah, blah, blah. Instead, he continued on with the bullshit, and then he made some posts about shame on everybody, all this other stuff he did, And we talked about that too. And I believe you told me that just like with me, you've given him all this work that you've done, and you didn't get a dime for it. And so it's kind of like one of those things where, what did he offer you, a T-shirt or something?
Yeah,
exactly. Okay. He offered me a T-shirt, but I wasn't quick enough to accept, so I didn't even get it. I had to pay for one. My wife did. I told her I wish you wouldn't have done it because it ain't, she's being nice, whatever. Yeah. Because it's my story, and he's got it. And so we talked about this, and it's like, you're your own man. I'm my own man, and nobody's going to own us and tell us, hey, you do this, you do that. That's not how we operate.
Absolutely. Hey, Josh, Dark Waters said, congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you both. He in the chat.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, and so, and like I said earlier when we talked about Dark Waters, it was no offense to him when he said, hey, let's all sit down and talk it out. I didn't want to sit down and talk it out at that time. I wasn't ready. And like I told you, I said I wanted to sit down and talk it out with you when me and you could talk it out like men, because we need to be men and handle our own shit.
Absolutely.
And I don't have a problem with Dark Waters. Everybody seems to think like he's this like big influence and whatever. Dark Waters is doing his own thing. He's doing what he does. I respect the guy. I have no problems with that dude.
Absolutely.
I've been kind of confused about a lot of things recently. But I think we cleared it up today, and I kind of figured out some stuff, and we were able to kind of, how do you say it, like get to the bottom of what was going on, like, who was playing with us and who wasn't, who's real and who wasn't. And I think that the situation with Vic is one of those where, like I said, you can go and do what you want to do, but my advice to you would be to absolutely disavow any dealings with that dude, because he's not honest. And I can't tell you that enough. And I think that you honestly made a mistake. And I felt it when you were talking last night on your live stream, when you were apologizing. I think you were being sincere. I think you were being legit. You know, I really do. I felt.
Absolutely.
And then when you broke down and you were crying, it really touched me. It hurt me, and I didn't want you to think that I disliked you for having an issue. You know, like you were on. You know, you said your problem you had with addiction.
Right.
You know, you came forward and said that, and you didn't have to do that.
No
man has to come forward and say, "Hey, man, I'm an addict," and admit to something that's that hardcore. You know, but you did. And I respect you for that, you know, and I want you to know that's not my problem. My problem, you know, and I believe that we both took it too far.
Right. Yeah. I think so. I think we did too. You know, I think, well, really, you've been trying to tell me stuff since last year when it started. You know what I mean? But it's like it went in one ear and went out the other. You know what I mean? I ain't paid no attention. And then when everything came into play, you know what I mean, I just was quick to blame. Okay, he had something to do with that too. He had something, you know. And you told me, you was like, we talked on the phone. You said I didn't put that, you know, your record up there. You know, so you said I seen it. It was in some kind of, you know, somebody put it in a different name, you know, a different account, so it wouldn't be traced back to them. You know what I mean? You said, but I had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? But instead of me saying, okay, he telling the truth, you know what I mean? I'm like, I jumped to conclusion. It was like, no, he had something to do with it too. And you know, like I said, at the end of the day, man, it take a real man to apologize and say sorry. You know what I mean? Especially where we come from, because that's something that they just ain't used to doing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. You know, one of the things that people don't know about me, and your fans and listeners may, you know, I'm gonna open up right now and tell the truth. There was a time in my life when I was homeless. Like, I lived in my car. You know, it wasn't a long time, but there was a time when I didn't have a pot to piss in, and all I had was my fists. That's all I had in this world. I didn't have anybody to help me, to give me anything, to do anything for me. I had a dad that basically didn't help me, wasn't there. I mean, didn't really. I could call him, but he wasn't gonna lift a finger to do anything. And so it was like my mom, you know, she ended up with really bad health problems for a long time. So I was pretty much down and out at one point, you know, and I hit rock bottom at one point, you know, in the late 90s. And I was living off of sandwiches from 7-Eleven that they were giving away, the old ones that they would throw away. And so my friend Paul worked there, and I was going up there and getting free sandwiches from this dude. And he would set me up to fight with people, you know, and so that's how I made money. And of course, one thing led to another, and these gangsters, they're like, "Hey, this guy's got, you know, fist of stone. Let's give him a job." What kind of job are you gonna get when all you know how to do is fight? You ain't gonna get a very good job. You're gonna get a job collecting money and beating people's asses. That's all you're gonna get. That's what you end up in, you know. And most of my youth, I spent locked up, man. Like, from the time I was like probably 13 until I was 17, I was locked up 4 times, and then in 2 different like rehab facilities and shit. And so I ended up being locked up in all these places and put in all these facilities, and I grew up in the system. And so a lot of people don't know that about me. And, you know, like recognizes like. I know that you've been through hell. You've been through a lot of shit. Right. And I haven't gone through the addictions like you have, but I've had my bouts with shit. You know what I mean? Like, right. I had to get off of certain things and stop doing things. I mean, I've done my shit too. I'm not blameless. That's why I never threw a stone in that direction, because you know, I did all kind of shit, man. Back when I was a young man, you know, I pretty much did everything you could think of, man. And I drank myself blind, you know, and I just tried, and you try to kill the pain like we talked about earlier. Yeah. We have that in common, you know. You wake up, you're still in reality, bro.
Right, it's still there. The problem is still there, and like I said, though, coming where I'm from, and you know, and you know, losing my mother and father at an early age and being raised by the streets, you know what I mean? I turned to the hustlers, you know, and started getting high at 13. I didn't like it, but who knows? You know, 2 years later, I would fall, couldn't stay with them. They didn't trust me and everything. So this time when I got clean, I had to, you know what I mean? I had to build a relationship back up with them. You know what I mean? So they can trust me to stay in their house and stuff. Because it's sad when your own family don't trust you. because they think you're going to steal and do this and do that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And like I said, though, I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me because the one good thing about humans, though, we was born with free will, so we make our own choices. I chose to go out there and do what I did. I paid my price. I paid my price in prison, and I'm trying to, pay it back into society. I don't want nobody to judge me on my past. You know what I mean? It's the work that I do now. Judge me on what I do now. I know I flipped out a few times on live streams, and I apologize. And if I offended anybody out there, your group, my group, any other group, I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and it'll never ever happen again.
Yeah, and another thing I was gonna say, I had people telling me, that if I accepted your apology and I apologized, that they were going to unsubscribe. They weren't going to talk to me no more because you had made some derogatory comments toward people, toward women.
Yeah, I did.
Blah.
And go ahead,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, nobody's perfect, dude, and I hope that my subscribers don't do that to me. I'm on here talking real. I was in the same boat you were in, Marvin. I wasn't allowed to sleep at my dad's house because my stepmom didn't want me there. I didn't want to go to my mom's house because, she had enough problems, dude, and I didn't want to burden her with my bullshit, and as time went on, I got deeper and deeper in with these people and got worse and worse in my life, and criminality became a daily thing for me. And I ain't bullshitting, man. And I'm talking like people think, oh, he's a podcaster, he does this, he does that. We're people, bro. We have feelings, we have families, we have things we care about, we have hopes and dreams, and people think you're supposed to be a robot and just spit out stories and shit, and that ain't how it works, It's like I don't condone the actions that I did, and I understand why people didn't want to bring any kind of bad element around or whatever, because I ran around with a bad crowd, and but I had to watch my back constantly, and it was living in a state of flux. Like your constant, the anxiety is constant, and the only thing that makes it go away is a substance. If you take it or you drink or you do something, to make it go away, and so you party. And I didn't have like one particular drug of choice or anything like that, but I partied and pretty much tried the rainbow of flavors, dude. And I did all kind of. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real honest. I did. I tried all kind of shit, man, and I did what I did. Whatever could get the pain to make me not feel like a piece of shit.
You're right.
That's what I did.
But as we talk, though, it only numbed the pain for a little bit. Then you gotta still deal with reality when that highway off.
Yeah. Yeah, and it don't cure it, man. And I haven't touched any kind of substance in probably 17 years, man. But the craving stays for a long time. It was years before I finally was like, I don't crave it anymore. It's like I quit dipping August 2018, and I was getting cravings even like a few months back. I was like, man, I'd like to have a pinch of skull, snuff. It's an addiction, and you want that. You know what I mean? I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to not to the degree that you went through, but I was addicted to other things too. Like I was addicted to violence. I got to where I liked violence, and to love that is not a good thing. It's not something. It became a comforting thing to be able to beat a dude down or do something, because then you're like, yeah, I dominated that dude, and just totally beat him up, But it's not. That's not what's good in life.
Yeah.
And I looked at what you were talking about yesterday, and I thought to myself, this man has this podcast, and your boy Richard Brown, he talked to me, and I kind of snapped on him today. I got a little aggravated with him because I woke up to him messaging me and hounding me about talking to you. And I kind of got aggravated with him. I want to apologize to you, Richard. You're actually a good dude, and you're a good Christian, and you talked to me. And I kind of thought you were messing with me at first, like y'all were trying to set me up or something to like mess with me. But Bettina explained that to me, what was going on. And so, I was like, okay. So I talked to this guy, and I think he is a true man of faith. He tries to be a good Christian. And so we talked, and I wanted to tell him, it's one of those things where, how do I say it? Like, he was right you know, I got to do the right thing. I got to come on and I got to talk about this. I got to tell you, because I saw you opening up and I saw the pain in your eyes, and I knew that you were being sincere and legit, and you were hurt, and I knew that I had caused that pain, and I didn't want you to be hurt on my account anymore.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. Something I wanted to ask you, Josh. I don't know if you're in the mood to it though, but I don't know if you because I know you always know what the fans come here for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what they come here for, so. I mean, we can talk about it. You can tell one. It's up to you.
Okay.
We can talk cryptids. You know.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Oh,
I just wanted to clear the air with all that.
Right.
I think that at the end of the day, though, I just wanted people to understand that we are human beings.
Absolutely.
We make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Everybody makes mistakes, and no matter how bad it got, I still forgive you, and you forgive me, and you know some of the things that were said, like you're talking about somebody raping me and lying in prison.
Right. I never said y'all. I never said y'all. It was two people that came on the channel. I said that. Now hold up, Josh. I want to say something. Somebody said in the chat. They said, so what, Marvin? Marvin got mad. OSS Josh suggested it was a gugwee. I don't know what they talking about.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know, so I'ma just overlook that one. You know.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, and I don't care about that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of them things where, like when you said that, I kind of laughed because I was like, you know, ain't nobody gonna rape me. But you know, it was a joke that somebody had said to me. They sent me the thing saying that, you know, oh, Marvin said y'all were gonna get raped, or some dude was gonna have y'all raped, some bull crap like that. And I guess my reaction was supposed to fly off the handle and be all like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna say something back and do this and do that. And people don't realize that I've been told a lot worse. You know, standing at the front door at the nightclub I used to run, I've had people tell me the most horrible things that could come to their mind. And, you know, I've been treated unfairly a lot in my life, and I know you understand that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to clear the air about that, too. You know, I want to tell people this. Your listeners need to understand something. You know, I'm not a racist. My mother's Mexican. My dad's white, you know, or my mom's Hispanic. My great-grandma was full-blooded Comanche, but I wanted people to understand that, you know, I'm not a racist. Like, I raised my brother's son, who's half black. I adopted him when he was 14. Like, I became his legal guardian. I took over and took care of him. You know, I raised him. He's still with me to this day. He lives with us. And it's hurtful, you know. That part right there kind of stung because, like, I've done a lot of work with black folks. In fact, you know, when you were on the phone with me earlier, Bettina, the guy that I was talking to who came in, he's the guy that owns my studio where I use that studio rent free because he's my friend and he's my mortgage broker. And he's a black man, and we're close. You know, we're tight. We're friends. And one of my lawyers is black.
Right. Like I said,
unfortunately, my old lawyer who actually died was black too. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was a good guy. And so, you know, I got my friend who owns Black Club, and two of my friends own black clubs, and I'll say black clubs because it's a hip hop club. It's predominantly frequented by black people, African American people, you know. And a lot of my homeboys are black, and I don't look at myself as like, oh, I'm a white guy, I'm a Mexican guy, or whatever, because I'm both. I'm a half breed. I've always been judged by that, you know, and I was treated bad because I was light skinned by the Mexicans. They looked at me as a white boy, and then some of the white people would call me a half breed or Mexican or Spick, whatever. They say these mean things to you, you know, because they you know, you don't know where you fit in the world. It's hard to understand where you fit in. And, you know, I always felt like I was like an oddball or an outsider, you know, and it led to a lot of my frustration and anger too, and fighting and all the bull crap I went through. And I think that you carried a lot of pain in your life, man, and you dealt with it in the way you dealt with it, which was through, you know, substance and you know, and I did multiple things, you know. And I think when we talked today, we discovered that we had a lot in common, you know, because we've talked multiple times before.
Absolutely.
This time was different. It was like we actually, you know, we bonded, and I think we kind of understand each other now. It's a lot. There's a lot more to, you know, the different dimensions of being a human being. I think people out there need to understand that, you know, yeah, you messed up. You screwed up. You made some stories that were not. You fucked up a couple stories, and I think those people know that you did it. You know, and I honestly don't think you did it on purpose. I think you just, you know, you gotta, like, you're like me. You know, you try to remember it with your memory, but
Right.
you gotta like write
Right.
it all down and see. And now, my wife got me these digital recorders so that I can record the people's stories better. You know, and I still don't even use them half the time. I still try to write it down. You know, I still do it on my show. I write stuff down. And we were kind of laughing about that earlier, you know, but I guess the older we get, we probably need to start using those digital recorders better. But, you know, I don't down you, and I was never jealous of you. And when we first started talking, I promise you this is the truth. I just wanted you to succeed, you know, but as I moved away from, you know, Mr. Cundiff, I was kind of aggravated that you didn't, you know, move away from him too.
Right,
and I guess it's because, you know, I kept telling you what was going on with that dude, and you weren't really listening. So I was just like, this is not working, you know.
Right.
Because when I went to him to try to talk to him about the situation, you know, the situations that I was being told, he blew me off. And so I reported it to you and said, look, you know, and you said, hey, I made a mistake. And I said, well, come out and let's just be honest, say I made a mistake, and then let's move forward and move away from this fool. But you weren't willing to do that, and I know why. And I'm going to tell the audience what it's like. You know, when you are like what Marvin, and I'm putting myself in your shoes for a minute here, when you are like Marvin and you have, you don't really have a whole lot going in your life. You know, you're struggling just to stay sober, and then you get something that you're good at, which you are good at it. And somebody tells you, oh, you did a great job. The people love you, you know, and you feel good about it. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, we did.
When you tell those people stories, and then they go, man, you told my story, and you did a good job. And then, or you call them up and you say, did you hear me tell your story? Which I did in the early days. And then they go, yeah, I heard it was awesome. Thank you so much. And then you feel good, like you helped them, you know. And then, you know, you call them up and say, hey, I'm going to be telling your story this Friday on the show, you know, and that was the feeling that you felt like you were worth something. You did something. It felt good. I get that. I understand that. But, you know, you're not getting anything else out of it. This person is not giving you anything. I mean, they're using you. And I felt like, you know, this person just used me, and then they want you to tell more and more, you know, stories, and then when you can't produce that at the rate that he wants, or they you know, whatever, then they're done with you. It's like you're just an afterthought.
And like we talked today, I said by far between me and you, I know we produce the most views out there than anybody.
Oh yeah, yep. I mean, you got to look at the numbers, man. I mean, some of them shows, man, hundreds of thousands of views, dude, and we didn't get a dime for this. I mean, it's like, you know, and then when you reach out to this person because you think he's your friend, you know, and then all he gives you is some fake pep talk, and then bye. You know, like, come on, man. That right there, when you told me about that, I just was like, that right there sums it up for me. Like, that right there tells you, like, I'm a real dude. I'm a real dude. You can pick up a phone and you can call me. You know, at the time when you were trying to call me, I did not want to talk to you. I was trying to take the road of, like, just not talk, not deal with you, whatever. You know, and I knew at some point we were going to have to. And I'm sorry that it had to come to, you know, you being so angry and so frustrated, you know, that we ended up having this whole whatever. But I do believe that there are certain elements and people in this community that are absolute freaking poison, dude.
Absolutely.
And you're not the person I'm talking about.
Right.
And I'm not saying that because I'm on your show. If I had beef with you, I would tell you, because I did come on your show one time and we had some beef and we went at it, you know. But I'm telling you, as a man, you're not the person I'm talking about. And when you were saying about you got mad and you came on my live stream about the alpha thing or whatever, and you jumped on my live stream and said some shit, whatever. My problem with that, I don't even know what you said. Like, I just saw your name on there and they said, oh, Marvin Allen showed up, said something. He got booted. I guess Ryan or Anthony, somebody booted you, but I didn't know what you were mad about because I didn't even say anything about you. And I was like, okay. But I had made some comments, in the past, and I had said some things, and I'm not blameless. I know I'm not blameless. I'm not perfect.
And one I tripped off of, you was like, yeah, Doug man up in the tree smoking a blunt. I just had to laugh at that I just had to laugh at that because it was funny. I was like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't just do that. You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, it's all good, man. And I can look back at this and laugh.
Yeah, and I hope that that's what it is. I hope that we can move forward. And my thing is, you wanted to work with me, and you told me that today. You said all I ever wanted was to work with you, and you said you looked up to me for and whatever. And I felt bad. I felt like, you know what? But by the same token, Marvin, I want people to know, and your fans to know, that in the beginning I did try to help you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, you did.
Yeah, and I offered you everything. I said I could, anything I could do to help you, I will help you.
I mean, you sent me money and everything. I'm not gonna deny that. You did. You know what I mean? You was like, you called me one day. You was like, man, I like the way you tell your encounters, and I think we can work together. And we was supposed to do something, and it just went down all hell from there. And I wish it wouldn't have did it because I think the both of us, can make a change. Since you came on my show tonight, this is the most people I ever had in the chat.
Is it? How many people you had on 106?
It went up to 116. So it's fluctuating. So that's the most I ever had. So I definitely want to work with you. You know what I mean? Because I think we can make a change. That's why I think a lot of them shows was reaching out to me, like Venomous Fringe, and I was on a few shows. You know what I mean? They was like, yeah, Mom, we trying to get you on the show, and I would go on there, and tell encounters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So guess they can get their views or whatever, up and get their little money.
That was a mistake for both of us, though, because Venomous is damn sure the right term for that guy.
Hey, they had the right name for that. You're right.
That's right. And Ryan wasn't the bad guy in that. Ryan was a victim too, man. But when Ryan, though, his only sin to me was staying too loyal to that fool for too long,
Right.
And I saw him in the comment section, man, and I pointed it out to you. I said they were in there like jackals laughing and like hyenas laughing because they knew they don't care about you, they don't care about me. They're just glad to see us going to war because their little plan was hatched way back, and this individual. He actually told Ryan what he was going to do, and he did it. And I laughed when he first told me about it. I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to fall for that. And then I ended up falling right into the trap like a dummy because, I'm not as smart as I thought I was.
Right.
I thought I was smarter than that, And I'm not talking about Vic. I'm talking about this dude from Venomous Fringe. Y'all go look him up.
Right.
You know who I'm talking about.
And
Ryan's old co-host.
Right. And another thing, though, Josh, if I would have never had a sighting, I wouldn't have fell in love with this. You know what I mean? But I saw something that I couldn't really explain, so I wanted to find out more about it. And I didn't know I was good in telling encounters until I started telling them. And I'm like, hold up. You know what I mean? And, this might be something, I can just, do. So I fell in love with it. Yeah. And I constantly try to do my best, But dealing with this because I could change my mind like this and go back out and use if I let something get to me so bad. And I did that so many times, and that's something that I'm trying not to do. You know what I mean? That's something I'm trying, like I was telling you earlier, somebody said that, well, you know who it was, but I ain't gonna say it, but he said, yeah, if I wanted to get rid, if I pick up again, which I don't plan to do. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I got a relationship.
You gotta stay clean, man. I mean, and it's hard too. People think
absolutely,
why don't
it's
you
not.
Stay clean? When you've used for as long as somebody, it's like you can't. It's very hard. I mean,
I know for a fact I done used over 40 years. I know for a fact. I used over 40 years off and on. You know what I mean? Even in prison, I used. I'm not gonna say I was a good guy in prison. It was people were sending it to me in there instead of me selling it. I'm using 80% of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a pattern that I couldn't break. I learned the tools to get clean. I just didn't apply it. I know how to stay clean. I just didn't apply it though. I didn't change people, places, or things. That's the number one thing you got to do. So that's why I moved from where I was at down here with my sons and my grandkids. And I've been doing so good since I've been here. And I'm not going to let nobody take me back down that road again, because that's pain. That ain't nothing but pain. That ain't nothing but pain, you know. The restless nights, you know, the vomiting and all that, the runs you got and all that. I'm gonna let people. I'm gonna let the listeners know and the subscribers. You know, you go through a lot when you coming off of this, and every time you go back to it, it takes longer and longer to get your body back to a certain point. You know.
Yeah, you're right. 2003, I think that was the last time I used a substance. I think that was the year, and I languished for 3 days trying to detox, and I damn near died.
It's hell. It's hell. It's hell, man. You go through a lot, yo. But when you done, you done. You know, you gotta be to a point where you be like, man, I'm just tired of doing this. Like I told you today, when Witchcom said she was on the phone with me, I OD'd 10 times. Not nothing to brag about. 10 times I OD'd 10 times. This last time, I should have been dead. You know, they had to shoot me 4 times with Narcan. And that's something that wasn't known. They'd shoot you twice or something like that, but they had to shoot me 4 times because I had got hold of something that was so strong. I was walking around like a zombie, you know, dragging my property in a plastic bag because my peoples put me out the house. Like 12 o'clock at night. Look, you gotta go. Because I was getting high in their house. So I didn't blame them. But my nephew was like, I wish I would have kept your property here, but I took it. And by 10 times over. But I think, well, I know I got a purpose in life. Because this man done spared me so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I think that you have a purpose, and you become Marvin. You know, the thing I'm gonna tell you right now is you gotta take care of yourself. You know, because there's a lot of people who, at this point now, know you exist. They like what you do. They want to hear you, and
right.
It would hurt a lot of people for you to check out, dude.
Right.
Just like me, I got to take care of myself, you know, and I don't use in a long time. I haven't done anything. I haven't done shit, and I just, you know, it was a shame that I had to go down that road. And when I reached out for help, nobody was there to help me, dude.
You absolutely right.
Nobody helped me. I mean, I had my friends, and they were like, you know, they weren't going to take me to the damn hospital so I could get, you know, in trouble for, you know, whatever.
Right.
But I had to lay there and just languish until I got that out of my system. And then, you know, I'm working in a nightclub, you know, for a few more years. I worked in a nightclub, and this stuff was all around me, and I wanted to do it, you know, and
right.
stuff. And I mean, and it's hard because you're like, everybody's doing it, and you're like, yo, don't you party? I'm like, I'm not anymore. And then I couldn't even drink beer anymore because when I drank beer, I wanted to snort it. So it was like I couldn't do it. So I had to stop. You know, I couldn't even. I mean, you can't stop. You know,
you can't. You can't.
And I had easy access to it. I mean, I could get it pretty much anytime I wanted for pretty much nothing. So you can imagine how hard it is to stop doing something like that. It's almost like
you absolutely like. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. My brother was my biggest, you know, enabler because he was making a lot of money. You know what I mean? $45,000, $50,000 a day. You know what I mean? So I had access to it, and he didn't want to see me sick. So he said, okay, I'd rather give it to you than for you to go out here and get something bad and you know, and die. You know what I mean? So he was my able for live, but he got to a point where he was like, yo, I can't do it no more because you're killing yourself. And I would sit there and cry and be like, please, yo, just give me something. And he was like, no, I ain't gonna do it. You need to get yourself together. So like I said this last time, he didn't give it to me. You know what I mean? He stopped dealing with it, start working. He was like, yo, I'm done with it. You know what I mean? I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna say you hurt yourself. And one thing I wanted to say though, Josh, the time that you was about the horrendous, you know, horrendous ranch, that thing. When you thought, somebody said to me on my channel, it was like, Marvin, you should tell, you know, that story in your words. I was like, That's not mine. That's not Josh. I mean, that's Josh. That's not mine. I'm not going to do that. I didn't want you to think that I was trying to go out to do that, because I know you made a post saying that, yeah, it's this guy trying to go out and, you know, do the Hernandez Ranch. And I told him, you know, don't talk to nobody and all that. But I wanted to let you know that some
my listeners, Vic's listeners, Dark Waters listeners, everybody's listeners, the Venomous Friends listeners, each one of these, it's like, folks at home listening and talk. Let me explain something. It's like Game of Thrones over here. Is this like, you don't know who's really real and who's not real. All I'm doing right here, right now, is opening up to y'all as a true human being, just showing you all, you know, warts and all, as they say, you know, and this, you know, showing all your scars, whatever, and just being a true, real human being, because Marvin did that on the, you know, and I figured I should follow his lead and do the right thing and show it for what it is. I mean, like, I'm here being a real human being, and a lot of people might, you know, jump for joy, and others might gnash their teeth. But the fact of the matter is that I'm here talking to you right now, and we're talking like real men. And I want you to know that there was another person that went after my contact, and it wasn't you. And they went after the Hernandez Ranch story. And it was, you know, the person we were talking about earlier. It was somebody that belonged to him that he didn't claim after they did it, but they destroyed my relationship with Abel. And he died never talking to me again. And that part really hurt, because I got to be friends with that man. And then when he died, not trusting me, that was hard, because, and when I went to Vic about it and I told him, I said, man, this woman did, you know, I think it was her. She did, you know, whatever. And she pushed me to try to talk to him. She kept pushing me, and I think he was pushing her, which I don't know for sure, because this guy never answers for anything he does. He doesn't talk to us, you know. Like I said before, I think we just get used and then discarded. And I told him, I said, you ruined, you know, my contact, you know. And later on, when I rekindled, you know, once he passed, I rekindled that with the guy that we call Jerry. It's not his real name, but when me and my people started talking to them again and were able to communicate them, it was, you know, I thought, man, here we go again. Somebody's going after them, trying to talk to them, because they don't have an interest in going on TV or on the radio, and they don't want people coming down there and someone out. They don't want nobody messing with them, you know, and then these people go and they push, you know, the envelope until it just snaps, you know, and so that wasn't you, yeah. But when somebody came to me and said, hey, you know, Marvin's trying to go and poach the Hernandez Ranch stories or whatever, I looked into it, and all I saw was like a post. Somebody said, hey, if you got any information or something, I don't remember, you know, but it was, I mentioned it once or something, and then that was it, because nothing came of it. So I don't really care about that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I was upset, you know, about a lot of things that had gone on. But I understood too, you know, that you were trying to build yourself up. You were trying to build your channel. You were trying to get views and listeners or whatever. And it can be hard when you're trying to start out, and especially when you don't have a real strong base. And that's why in the early days I wanted to help you. But the thing with Vic just kind of soured me, and everybody kept asking me, well, why are you not working with Vic anymore? Why are you not working with Vic anymore? I had already told him 300 episode, that was it. I'm not dealing with him anymore. I'm not going to do it. Why would I give you all my stuff?
And like I said, we've been on there numerous of times. I know for a fact I've been on there at least 6 or 7. I know, without a doubt. I went back to back like twice.
Yeah, me too. I did back to back 147, 247, 248. Because he calls you in because he ain't got nobody else. He calls you in so you help him out.
Yep.
And you don't get anything out of it.
He told me.
Hey, thanks, man.
He told me, he was
and
like,
he doesn't even promote you. So.
He said that my guest didn't show up, Marvin, you know what I mean? And, you know, type of dude I am, you know, kind-hearted, you know what I mean? I'm there.
Yeah,
but see,
you did what I did.
I never knew, Josh, that people was making money like this off of this when I first started.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know nothing about this. I was young to it. I didn't know nothing like this. But when you getting 150,000 views a show, yeah, you cashing in.
Yeah, exactly. And when we started talking about it and running through the numbers, we're sitting here going like, we feel like a couple of dummies because we've been played. I mean, it's like, dude,
Man, it got to be in the millions. It got to be in the millions between me and you.
I mean, it's crazy when you look at like how many views. Yeah, it's unreal, and it's like when you're on the show or I'm on the show, you know that it's gonna be popping. People are gonna be listening, and some people don't like you, some people don't like me, but that's their taste. They don't care, whatever. He's still profiting. And the least he could do, and I'm going to say this, is you could at least profit share or do something. If somebody makes you that much freaking money or that many views, the least you could do, what are you going to do? You couldn't even give me a freaking shirt. He offered you a shirt. Luckily, you jumped on it quick enough because he would have taken it away if you didn't, obviously.
Right.
Thanks, Mr. Condon, for offering this man a shirt. Congratulations, man, for all the hard work you put into this shit. You gave him a shirt. Jeez.
But
And I wish people at home would wake up to the reality of how hard it is to do what we do. It ain't people like, it's easy.
It's not.
You just go get stories and then you go out there and you retell
that's
them.
crazy.
That shit ain't easy.
They always asking for why is the pictures blurry and all that. You know what I mean? Why is it this and that? Man, you act like they gonna stand there and pose for you and you get a clear picture. It's not like that.
This, scared shitless. They're not gonna be worried about taking a picture.
Right.
They're worried about getting the hell out of there.
Right.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. I mean, and these people don't even know that, like of all the podcasters out there, it's funny because I never viewed you as a rival. I mean, I never did.
Right.
And we had the most in common. But my problem, like I said, was
Albert.
you mistold the stories, and all I wanted you to do was say, "Hey, I did this. It was an accident. I made a mistake."
I spoke up as a man. I told you. I told you that. I was a man. I was a man, and I told you.
I just wanted you to say it.
But
look, you made a mistake. But at the end of the day, though, this other guy, when I went to this guy about the shit that happened with me, and about the editing that he does and how he takes out certain things, I didn't like all that shit, man. And I told him, "You're gonna do my story. We're gonna do my story. We're not gonna play around with this crap." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he does that. Like with me and you, I know in the beginning he might have kind of pushed you a little bit to do this or do that, but then you kind of got your footing or whatever, and then you, like we talked about earlier, then you just come on the show and you just tell the stories because you know how it works, you know what I mean? Like you've already gotten the witnesses and you've already talked to them and you go on the show and you tell their stories, bam, and then you feel good. You call them up and say, "Hey, did you hear the show?" And they're like, "Yeah," and you feel good. It gives you something. It gives you like energy. It makes you feel like, man, these people are so happy.
Right.
Their story was told on the other show, whatever.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And that's your reward.
You're right.
On the other side, this dude don't care about that. All he cares about is he's making money off of that. But then when somebody makes a mistake, hey, somebody made a mistake. Keep the integrity, dude. Where is the integrity? That was my problem. I kept screaming that, like, dude, come on, man. Let's keep it real here, dude. And he could have said, "Hey, we'll redo it. Let's retake it, whatever," because it wouldn't have hurt him to take it down and then just redo it correctly and say, "Hey, there was a mistake," or whatever. Oh no, you can't do that because then people might think, and then he might lose money. So money is more important than honesty. And that was my problem, was like, it was just, you made a mistake. Okay, he could easily just say, "Hey, we're gonna retell this work," because there was more details that were done, whatever. He could have done that. There's a lot of things he could have done. But he didn't do that. And then that girl that said that about mine, like, what's up with that? I mean, like, there's so who knows what the hell, So there's all these open, whatever wounds that it was starting to eat at me. It's starting to bug me. And, and I tried talking, and one of the riffs that we had, besides that other guy that was playing everybody at the beginning, I tried talking to you about certain people and said, "Look, man, I think this guy is not, a good guy."
Right.
It was like, like you said, one ear and out the other. And I just thought, okay, well, I can't communicate with this dude. I can't deal with this guy, But at the end of the day, we ended up realizing we have more in common than we ever could have possibly known.
Absolutely. And Josh, I want to thank you, though, because a lot of your people have showed up in the chat tonight and they have subscribed to the channel, man. And that really mean a lot to me, because that's a start. You know what I mean? That start to to a friendship, to a bond. You know what I mean? A lot of people have, your people have subscribed to my channel, man, and that really means a lot.
Well, honesty is important, you know, and you were the bigger man. I'm not gonna lie. You came, even though you ranted and raved and you did what you did. You know, you said some pretty, you know, vividly.
Yeah, I did. I ain't gonna lie, I did.
I don't even bother.
And
you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I've been stabbed. So what? You know, you didn't stab me. So what do I care if you say some words?
And
you know, what hurt me though. Go ahead, Mark.
I wanted to say I didn't mean to say that, but when I said and you know what, I'ma pull a motherfucking race card. I didn't want to say that, yo, because I did have a whole lot of anger in me, and I resent that, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart because I don't think you're a prejudiced person. You know what I mean? Like you said, you got, you know, black kids and you got black in your family. So who am I to call somebody that? You know what I mean? And I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. From whatever I said to your wife, your nephew, or whatever. You know what I mean? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and it'll never happen again. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna let nobody twist me up to go to war with somebody else while you profiting. I ain't profiting nothing. I don't have nothing. You know, I'm doing this off my phone. I don't have nothing. I didn't set up nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't set up nothing because for first and foremost, I love what I do. So I said, okay, it's going to be a point in time. Well, I will put that into place because I do got some things and, you know what I mean? I do got some things out there. You know what I mean? Like I told you earlier today, I got somebody from England to draw me some pictures of some cryptids. And they watermarked them with my name. So, you know, my name on them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, for the audience out there, you know, that me and Marvin are going to start working together every day or be the best of friends or whatever. But I do hope this is a start of something that we can, like, build on and we can move forward because Marvin did come forward and admitted to a lot of things, folks. And it is hard for somebody to come forward and admit that they're wrong and admit that they said certain things and they did certain things. And I'm guilty. I'm gonna say it right now. I would sit there and go, dude, pack, and I would make fun, dude. I'm not gonna lie. We all did it. You know, everybody was talking shit.
Right, yeah, we was.
But people like us, though, people don't really understand, like, for dudes like us who lived hard, who grew up hard, who just kind of you didn't have nothing. I know you didn't have shit, neither did I.
No, I didn't have nothing. I didn't have nothing coming up. You know what I mean? Absolutely nothing.
You grew up hard.
I struggled.
I mean, there was a point in time when I lived with my grandma on the projects, man. I mean, you know, I lived with my grandma on the projects for almost 2 years. I mean, I had freaking issues, dude. I mean, I lived with my friends, the Robles family in Taylor. And they lived in the freaking hood, you know, and it was a barrio, you know, or the barrio, as they say. And I just, you know, I grew up, the black neighborhood was right next to my neighborhood. I used to have to fight all the time, man. Going to school is like, why you walking through my neighborhood?
And
we're fighting all the time.
And I can believe it. Josh, I'm going to tell you something that I never, I never told nobody else. I used to live in the projects, 14-story building. Mm-hmm. It was the norm for you to get on the elevator with a dead body on there and still catch the elevator up to your floor.
Wow.
That's what we used to do because we was used to seeing that. Oh, that's just another dead person, you know what I mean? That's the mentality we had because we used to see this every day. You could go put trash in a dumpster and see a female in there with her throat cut. I done seen all that. I done witnessed all that, murders and all that. I done seen it all. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you be like, man, you done been subjected to all this. Do you still want to live that same pattern, that same life? You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, no, I don't want to do it. Because like I said, though, I should be dead 10 times over. I'm going to tell you what a dude told me one night. He walked up on me. He was like, he say, yo, did you rob my workers? I'm like, man, no, that ain't even my MO. I don't stick up. He was like, no, that ain't heard what I heard. He said, do you believe in Jesus? I say, what? He said, do you believe in Jesus? I said, yeah, I believe in Jesus. He said, well, guess what? You're going to meet him personally tonight. That man was getting ready to blow my fucking brains out if it wasn't for another homeboy. So I done been in situations where, you know, I really should have been dead. You know what I mean? And like I said, though, the man upstairs got a purpose for me. He done saved me so many times from death. And I can't keep taking it for advantage. Because one time my ticket gonna punch, which all our tickets gonna punch.
Yeah.
But I gotta make a change because I want my grandkids to be like, man, my grandfather did something. You know, he did something. He told these encounters, man, that people love. So I want to stick to this because I know I'm good at it. And I found out I was good at it. So I want to stick to that, you know, and this is what I want to do. But Josh, whenever you want to, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to tell you, you know, that you are good at it, and I want you to keep doing it. And I'm, you know, glad that you found something that could be your outlet, you know, and even through all the anger and the stuff that went on and how much arguing and fighting went on, you know, I want people to understand that at the end of the day, you know, like, this dude hadn't done nothing to me at the end of the day. It was just a bunch of trash talk that we went back and forth. And, you know, honestly, the main attacking came from Vic's camp, from his people. I mean, the day my mother died, you know, he made that post and everybody knew he was talking about me. And so it was like, oh, this dude's the enemy, you know, so let's go after this dude. And you weren't even like, you know, my issue. It wasn't you that I was angry with or anything like that. It was, you know, it was Vic, you know, but I kind of felt like you stood by him and you were kind of in the way too, you know, so that kind of made it, I was like, this guy again, you know, here we go. And so, you know, and then some of your listeners, some of your followers, and we figured out kind of a couple of them who they were, you know, and they stirred the pot and they jumped on me along with Vic's people and you know, like we were putting on that fight promotion, you know, and we were being my boy Chief down here in Austin.
Oh, I got rid of that person. I got rid of that person. You know what I mean? And when I got rid of him, only thing he said was, okay. Like, okay. That's all you got to say is okay. Yeah. So yeah, I got rid of him. But one thing I want to say, Josh, can we talk a little cryptids? Get it. Sure. I mean, get the fans what they came for. This is what I wanted to ask you, right? I got a neighbor that lived 2 houses down. Now, he said he got the infrared around his house and cameras. And he said 6 days straight, something was banging on his back door. I mean, heavy, he can hear the house shaking, tapping on his window and running something would sound like, he said, like a screwdriver across his air conditioner. It never went off. He never caught it. He would come out with his shotgun, don't see nothing. 6 days straight. So do they have the ability to trick these cameras and this infrared shit? Because he got them all around his house. So it's no way that if something came on his property, it should have lit up. But he said it didn't.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, and there's so many people out there, and after all the shit we admitted to earlier, they probably think we're crazy anyway, but I'm going to tell you something, you know, I mean, you know, I'm stone cold sober, you know, you're sober. I'm telling you right now, you know, this is not crazy BS, dude. Like this stuff happens. I'm telling you, I get stories all the time where I got one not too long ago where this woman was working security at another construction site, and it was a former employee of mine's friend, and he said, yeah, she wants a job. We started talking. And this was like maybe probably a couple months back. It was right around the time my mom was ill, and so I wasn't real focused, you know. And I need to reach back out to this person, but I talked to her briefly on a messenger, and she reported to me that when she was doing her rounds, that she saw. This was what's weird. She saw something on camera because there was a camera set up there because this company, and I can't say the name of the company, but it's a security company. They use, like, they set up a little shack, you know, with the little lights and the cameras and all that. And so she went out there to check because she saw something weird on the camera that looked like something quick and like move like real fast, you know.
Wow.
And so she went out there to look, and when she went to the guard shack to check, she was sitting in her car. She saw it on camera. She slowed it down. It just looked like a real quick blur, and it almost looked like a coyote or something. She said on camera, it almost kind of looked like a coyote, but. What she goes, when I honestly, if I told you what I saw with my own eyes, it looked like it was on 2 legs.
Wow. That's
So that
crazy.
kind of gives you the idea, like, you know, what we're dealing with here is like, and I'm getting so sick and tired of all these people that just want to dismiss. And of course, like if we talk too much about that, he would kind of steer away from that, you know, and of course he edits everything too, you know, and I'm it's a shame because there's so much out there. You know, these people, they have encounters, and not just with Dogman, but they have it with other paranormal phenomena too. Which is why when I made my show, I made it a point to include, you know, all the
everything. You wanted to cover everything. One thing I want to ask you again. Have you ever heard of the incident? The guy Blue in Florida.
Which guy?
The guy Blue in Florida that caught that on live, running through his backyard. Now, I interviewed him first, and you know, DW got it after me, and that's when me and him had words or whatever. You know what I mean? I was like, man, he mad because I got the interview first. What do you think that was running across that back? Because it looked transparent.
I don't know. I mean, you know, there's a lot of speculation about these creatures being interdimensional. A lot of people believe that they come from portals, or they you know, they come in and out of our world, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, I've been talking, you know, recently to Melba Ketchum, and I'm going to try and you know, and sit down and have a talk with her, and hopefully, you know, I can ascertain what she's uncovered, you know, because she's done DNA testing and things like that.
She have got DNA testing. I talked to her a couple of times too. It's
very interesting when you start to look at like you know, of course, Linda Godfrey, she was on my show and we talked, and she you know, we talked about that the you know, her belief, you know, and it's starting to become more and more that esoteric, I guess, if you will. And there's, you know, the people that are diehard flesh and blood people, they're starting to become outnumbered by the people who are actually waking up to the reality of this is why we don't have these things. Why do we have hundreds and hundreds of reports of these things and no photos? And they're like, oh, it's because they don't exist. No, it's not because they don't exist. It's because you can't photograph them. They are not like us. They're not purely flesh and blood. They are flesh and blood, but they're not.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Today, I was at this store, and this woman, she's a good friend of mine. She was an Olympic medalist. I think she was a gold medalist, actually, and she was a sprinter. She is black, but she's from Germany. But she's like, her mother was German, her dad was black, and so her name is Yvonne Graham. You can look her up. Her sister is Yvette Graham. She's an actress. And I was in TFN Nutrition. That's where I go all the time. She's great. She knows everything about nutrition and supplements. She's awesome. And I go in there and I get my smoothies from her after I work out and stuff. So I was in there today, and I met this woman who looked like she was probably in her 70s. She's from the Philippines, and we started talking about, she saw my Paranormal Roundtable shirt, which I'm wearing right now, and she started talking to me about it, and Yvonne was like, yeah, he has a show, and we started talking about my show, and so she's from the Philippines, and I've been wanting to do a series about Southeast Asian cryptids and paranormal, ghosts, things like that. I already did one about Japan. It was a Strange Demons of Japan episodes. And so this woman, we started talking, and I asked her about the Oswing, which is a very common, like, demonic entity that they encounter. So we talked about that briefly, and then I told her, I said, well, I got involved in this. She asked me. I said, because of this, I pointed at the creature on my shirt, because on the logo of the Paranormal Roundtable is a werewolf. And so she's like, I've seen something very similar to that. And I couldn't believe I'm standing there talking to this woman. You know, went in there with you know, Yvonne, just to get my shake and whatever, buy my supplements for my wife, and you know, and we just left the studio, me and Anthony, and she said she saw this. Now get this, she saw two of them, and I said, you saw two dogmen. Well, she don't know what a dogman is because she's you know, lived in San Diego for years. She's from the Philippines. She don't even know what that term is. She goes, dogman. I said, well, no, it's a term that we use. I don't really like the term. I think they're more like wolf-looking creatures, but, you know, they call it dogman. And she says, well, I saw two of them. They looked like werewolves. And she told me when she was in the Philippines, I think she said she was in her teens or something like that, she said that they were white. I mean, and I've only one other time have I ever got a description of a solid white dog man. And so I asked her if she would be willing to let me call her and talk to her on my Tuesday live stream coming up on Tuesday. And she's like, no, I'd be too shy. I don't think I could do that, you know. And I was like, well, it'd be on YouTube. It'd be really cool, you know. And so we started talking, and she gave me the story. It wasn't a real long encounter, but basically these two white dog men were like right outside of her apartment, you know, like when she was young. She looked out the window, and she was like a teenager or whatever, and she saw them, and she said she was frozen with fear. She just looked out the window and she saw them. They were both white. Wow. One of them was squatted down looking at her, and she thought, that's a weird looking dog, you know, it's squatted down. But then she said that another one walked up and came into view, and it was slightly, I think she said that one was larger than the first one. And she said that they both just stood up and walked off, and they were walking away like men. Wow. And she said they were white. And this is like just me going in there to this nutrition place that I go to all the time, just to get my smoothie, you know, and to buy some supplements. So, I mean, you know, it's crazy how many people have seen these things. And then you're going like, wow. I have a story that I'm going to do pretty soon on my show. It's called The Brazilian Exorcist. It's going to come out pretty soon. And there's a dogman element to that. That's what caught my eye, because this person sent me this story. They said, hey, I got a story to tell you. It's about an exorcism. Well, I started reading about the story, and I was going like, holy crap, this is terrifying. You know, this is a scary story, you know. And I can only read it in like pieces, because it started to freak me out a little bit. Now, it takes a lot to freak me out, you know. But when I started reading this story, I started realizing like there was a dogman element to that, a very spiritual one, because this woman was contorting and grunting and growling and acting like a dog, and she even like almost shifted into what looked like a hairless, like almost like a dog head. You know, it was weird. Wow. So eventually I'll tell that story. That's going to come out on my show. But, you know, you start looking at all these different encounters and these cases. And of course, you got the Warrens. You have, you know, everybody knows who Ed and Lorraine Warren are. They had a werewolf story that they did, that they covered. People should look into that. It was a werewolf, spiritual werewolf encounter. My wife had an ethereal werewolf encounter. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so people that deny that aspect of it are really doing themselves a disservice. Now, I'm going to tell your listeners something else. You know, for 29 years, Marvin, 29 years, I believed that my encounter was a completely flesh and blood encounter, until my friend's brother told me that he saw black vapors coming off the back of its neck. Well, when somebody tells you that for 29 years, you're just like, oh, it's a flesh and blood encounter. I had an encounter with an upright canid that obviously was, you know, what do you call it? I don't want to call it a dog man, but like a flesh and blood, like werewolf looking creature. You know, it didn't look like a dog to me, so I feel weird calling it a dog man, because nobody in my hometown calls him that, you know. And so whenever somebody sees one, they just describe it as what it is. They can't really tell you exactly, you know, they just say it looks like a bright wolf or something like that. Right. You know, for all those years, I always thought that it was a flesh and blood thing I saw, until, you know, this guy tells me, you know, I saw these, and I was like, I had never known that. And he's like, well, you never asked. And I was like, right. I guess I knew everything about my own encounter, but I guess I didn't. You know, right. I mean, it's crazy, right. You know? It is. I was at a job site one time where I thought I saw what may or may not have been a dog man. I don't claim it as a dog man sighting per se, because I didn't, how do you say it? Like, it didn't register with me that's, you know, it looked like a gray image of like a dog type creature. I can't tell you exactly what it's hard to describe. If you've ever seen that werewolf looking creature in Harry Potter, it's the closest thing I could come to what it would look like. It didn't look anything, I mean, nothing like the first one I saw when I was 15. This happened about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago. When I first got with Nellie, it was only a few months after I got with her, when she first came to be with me and we got married. So this thing was like it looked like it was leaning over one of the refuse bins. So when I walked over there to it, I stupidly got out of my truck, didn't take my flashlight, and I've told this story on Vic's show, of course, and I didn't take my flashlight, I didn't take my cell phone, and I walked up, and I'm convinced this thing was ethereal in some form because it moved between the buildings and ended up by the Falcon storage boxes behind one of the houses that was being built. And when I walked over there, I could see it kind of moving around because it was pitch dark, Marvin. I'm telling you, pitch dark, like it was black. I couldn't see anything. But I saw this creature, but it looked like it had almost like a glow to it, if that makes sense.
Wow.
And I just can't. I don't know that it was a dog, man. I don't want to say I saw another one because it didn't look anything like the first one. But you could make out what it was, and it was dog shaped, or coyote shaped, maybe you could say. And then I heard this crunching noise, like a popping, like, and it wasn't like the popping like you hear when people describe how they hear something when it stands up and it goes pop, pop, pop.
Right.
Of course, I haven't heard that because I haven't, I wasn't. Now I've heard that, but I didn't see what made the noise. You know what I mean? So this is actually me looking at this creature, whatever this thing was, this possibly ethereal creature. This thing was standing by the Falcon storage boxes, and then it moved around to the side of it. And when I moved around to the side of the house to get a better look at a different angle, it was gone. And so, the next day I went up there when it was still daylight, and I walked around. Of course, there wasn't any rain, so there was no footprints to be seen. There wasn't no mud or anything. I didn't see any evidence of this thing at all, of what it could have been. I have no idea. But that place out there, me and my wife had an encounter with something else out there similar to that, which she thinks may or may not have been a Sasquatch. Or it may or may not have been a Sasquatch. She thinks it was. But I didn't get as good a look at it as she did, so I don't claim that as a sighting either. But we had a few weird things happen out at that site. And when that thing was by the trash bin, I was by myself, and I didn't have my flashlight or my cell phone or any kind of protection. It was all in the truck. As I got up and just walked right toward it, and I still to this day don't know why I did that. But I think I was just kind of like, whoa, what is that? And I was on the phone with my friend, and I said, hang on, I got something going on here. And so I just left the phone in my truck when I should have just taken it with me. And I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't, And it wouldn't have mattered anyway because it was pitch dark. So if I'd have tried to take a picture, it probably wouldn't have came out right anyway. And so this thing was by the boxes, and when it went around the side of that box, I just took a step to the right, to get a better angle, and it was already gone. Like it had disappeared, like poof, it's gone.
Wow.
So it makes me think that it was some sort of ethereal entity or creature, and I'm convinced, I don't know about the listeners, they can make of it what you will, but I'm convinced that it was some sort of ethereal dogman type creature, but it was looking for food, and it was eating something because I heard the crunching noise. Like, how when a dog is just tearing up a bone?
Right.
That's exactly what it sounded like, Marvin. It was like,
wow.
And I heard it grinding it up, and it was crazy, and it was scary at the same time because it sounded like it was chewing on something big and hard and crunchy, And so I just walked off and went back to my truck, and I immediately called my wife, and I said, you're not going to believe this. I just saw something weird out here. And that was the last night that I actually went out there by myself. She had my wife. She started coming to work with me after that, and she's brave. She's like, I'm going to go with you, honey. I'm not going to let you go by yourself. And we were on guard the whole time we were out there. I mean, I know it sounds funny because you're actually doing guard duty, but we were both like on high alert. Like if we went to the bathroom, we would go into one of the houses to use the bathroom. We would go together, and I would never let her get out and walk around by herself. I would get out and I'd work out even when I was on post. I was working all the time, and it was just whatever, and unless it rained or something like that, I would, it was several months we were out there. And I'd get out and I'd do my workout, and she just watched me real closely, because there was something out there. I mean, we know there was some horses that were right there next to those tract houses they were building, and them and the cattle that were out there would get spooked and run around and act weird. And we heard what we thought one night were like a pack of coyotes just getting slaughtered, which could have been a hog, they were fighting with, but we didn't hear the hog. So the hogs make a distinct noise that I know what that is because here in Texas we're inundated with them. So I don't know what that was. It was insane. It sounded crazy, and it just sounded like something was killing coyotes, you know?
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you something, Josh. Far as the Skinwalker is concerned, I got I had an eyewitness from Skinwalker Ranch, live out there in the reservation, and Indian whatever, and she said her father was like a medicine man, a high priest, and they was inside the teepee doing their little ritual one time. Now she didn't want to post this on the channel on the live, so I said okay, but she said that her father was in there, and the guy said that do y'all want to see something? Then he said, I don't want y'all to see it. Close your eyes. I want y'all to hear it. He said, bound me with rope and chains, which they did. And he said he started doing this chanting and they making all this noise. And she said her father, cracked his eye and opened it up and looked at him. And he said this man transformed into a werewolf. The chains and the rope start falling off him as he walked out the teepee. He said you could see like fire coming from the bottom of his feet. Now, she said he was a medicine man. So, I don't know as far as skinwalkers and all that, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I ain't open up to the possibility that they exist or whatever is real. But, what's your take on that?
They absolutely exist. They're real. My cousin Trey, if people go to my show and you look up Indian Reservation Horrors, I believe it was called that. It was called Indian Reservation Terrors or Horrors or something. I don't know what Anthony named it, something like that. And my cousin, he went out with a Shoshone woman, and they were at the Wind River Reservation, and he absolutely had people telling him about skinwalkers just all the time. It was a constant thing, and I'm going to have somebody talk about that next week on my show next Friday. I wanted to address something here. Christy Philpott, I hope you're still in the chat, okay, because this is very interesting. I wanted to address this question, or what she says here. She says, I seen a dog man in front of our vehicle in Haskell, Texas, but I am the only one that remembers, so I always question if it was a demon. Christy, let me tell you something about Haskell, Texas. I'm going to give you a little tidbit here. I know everything about Texas, I can tell you that. I lived there. I lived in Haskell, Texas for 3 years when I was a kid. And there is a legend of a creature called the Haskell Rascal. And a lot of people believe that it's a Bigfoot, but this thing doesn't look like a Bigfoot. I got a story from a friend of mine, my friend Mickey, his uncle gave me, and his uncle's friend, and I told this story once again. I gave this story to DER on Dogman Encounters, and I'm gonna tell you, he was a very, let me tell y'all something. He was a very hard person to interview. He was watching a NASCAR race while I was trying to interview him, and he acted like I was really bothering him. So when people think that what me and Marvin do is easy, think again, because some of these people are hard to get stories out of. Like, they'll want to give you their story,
Absolutely.
and then they'll make it hard for you, because then they're doing whatever the heck it is that they're doing. They're eating cereal, or they're yelling at their kids, or they're trying to, and I'm like, is this not a good time? No, it's a good time. Get out of there. Stop messing with that. So you're like, oh my God, these people, well, this guy was like yelling and screaming at the TV because, I don't know, whoever was on the TV, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., whatever was going on. And I said, okay, this is a bad time. He goes, it's always a bad time. So he was that kind of guy. But he had a hell of a story, and it happened out at Lake Stanford, in between Haskell, Texas, and Stanford, Texas. And so at Lake Stanford, he said that he was out there. I've told this story before, like I said, but this thing, he said part of its face looked like it was like snarled upward, like it had been scarred, or something like its face was, part of its face was torn where you could see the teeth more on the top of it. And I don't remember which side he said that the scar was on.
Yeah, I heard that.
He said there was this gnarled looking, like dogman looking creature, and he said it began swimming toward them. And he goes, oh my gosh. So he goes, they got their boat. They were trying to start their boat to get away, and this thing stands up in the water, and the water only goes up to a little bit below its waist.
Wow.
And he's like, oh, holy crap, this thing. And so he just starts walking toward them really fast. And so then he got the thing started, and then it jumped down and began to swim as they got closer to the boat. And of course, they got away. And he said that, I don't remember what year he said it happened, in the 80s or something like that. But he was like, dude, I was out there fishing. And so that happened right outside of Haskell, Texas. And I know that one of my sister's friends also claimed to have had a run-in with the rascal. And it definitely didn't look like Bigfoot. It looked more like a rangy-looking werewolf. So, Chrissy Philpott, if you're out there listening and you're still in the chat, that's interesting. Get in touch with me about that, because I would love to touch on that more, and talk about,
Right, because I know it's a lot of sightings come out of Texas, you know what I mean, and basically they all over, and I'm so happy that so many people are coming forward, and sharing their encounters, you know what I mean, despite what a person might say, whether it's this or that. Now, I had an eyewitness, and one time, and my whole team was supposed to go down there, you know what I mean. So she said her first sighting was the hyena type, you know what I mean, and she wanted to she really wanted to get help, and she was reaching out to me. So I called my team. So my team calls her, and while they on the phone with her, she looks towards the window and say, they outside my window. So they thought she was crazy or losing her mind. And she got really upset, though. They was like, nah, Marvin, we don't want to take this case. I'm like, man, y'all put me under the gun like this. Why would y'all do that? You know what I mean? They said, no, we think she crazy and all that. I mean, like, come on, man. You know what I mean? We can go out there and, at least see, because she had some good pictures. She had some good pictures, you know what I mean? But they didn't take it in the, you know what I mean? I guess they didn't take it in the form to at least go down there and check it out. So, you know what I mean? But she had some good pictures. She said the first one she seen was a hyena type. So, and people don't think they come in the city, but they do. They've been sighted.
Oh, yeah. Mine was in town. My sighting was in town, yeah. This person says here, real truth. I watched both of Vic's channels last night and tonight. It was awesome. Do you know why? For 2 hours, it was about Dogman and Bigfoot. I guess they're being cute or funny because we were talking about other stuff.
Right.
Well, real truth, this was not meant to be a show about Dogman or Bigfoot.
Right.
It's about burying the hatchet between two people who've been fighting for stupid reasons. And so I'm sorry if we're not Vic and we're not talking Dogman and Bigfoot for 2 hours. Okay, we're talking about it now. But a lot of things needed to be said and needed to be gotten out of the way, and hopefully in the future we can talk about it some more.
And I don't like when people do that, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Vic Show and all this, you know what I mean? Because, you got Vic diehard fans, but you got to think, though, you can add up all the people he done had on that show, it still ain't going to amount to me or Josh. Point blank, hands down. It's not. It's just not. It's not gonna amount to that. You know what I mean? So you can listen to all the encounters you want, and the Bigfoot encounters and Dogman encounters, you know what I mean? But he done had so many people that told him phony stories.
Phony stories, absolutely. Yeah, and that was another thing, too. I wanted to get the emphasis off of you, because what you did to me, I think, was a mistake. What these people were doing, one of them, and I told you about this, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
She went on his show and was drunk, and for an hour she rambled on just nonsense, and Vic still put it out there. So what does that tell you, folks? If that doesn't tell you what's going on, I mean, give me a freaking break, dude. I mean, like, it's, and then you're going to come on and talk about, yeah, he talked about it for 2 hours. Good for him. Did he himself talk about it? No, because he doesn't know how to tell stories. He doesn't tell stories. We know that because when he went on Midnight in the Desert, and like Dark Water said, he shit the bed. He damn sure did, because he didn't know what the hell he was talking. He just goes, oh, well, he threw my name out there. He's like, well, there's people that tell stories on there like Josh Turner. He threw my name out there on that show. He damn sure did. But he did not tell any stories, did he? He didn't. No, he didn't. Right. Dark Waters got on there and called in and told a story, because, he does his own work. That's what he does. But did Vic do that? No, he didn't. So this whole Messiah thing with Vic is really making me sick.
Right.
I hate this. You know,
It really
we
is
were
though.
yeah, it really is. We were the backbone. We were the foot soldiers, and we got nothing, nada from our services, not a damn thing. Like Marvin, I gave you some money when you first started. Remember?
Right.
Why? Because Vic wouldn't do it. That's why, folks. You want to know the unadulterated truth? Because I tried to help this man because Vic wouldn't do it. Vic doesn't promote people, okay? Vic promotes himself, and so good for him that he talked about Dogman and Bigfoot or whatever the hell he talked about. I'm glad he did it.
Oh,
You know,
man,
I'm so
and
tired of this guy.
you absolutely right. Now I hate when people come over here and they say stuff like that, where they talk about Doug, man, and Bigfoot. You know what I mean? And this, I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know what I mean. You learn from your mistakes, though. You definitely do. You sit
Yeah,
back.
this person. You know what, Marvin? Check it out. This guy right here said it right here. Damos, he says Vic always conveniently has audio issues on other people's shows. That's another thing. Wow. You know, I don't even understand it. Why do you got audio issues, dude? I'm like, you know, I'm talking clearly right now on your show, Marvin. I don't got no audio issues. I can't even imagine what that must be like.
Now listen to this, Josh. Somebody said, talking about encounters instead of babbling like you two do. At least you dummies are getting together. It don't make no sense how people would just rave about, okay, we was trying to clear the air and let y'all know what we went through and that we was, you know, trying to move forward. But yet y'all always worrying about encounters and all that. It's not always about that. We trying to clear the air, yo, and build a bond that we can move on for that. But y'all worrying about encounters. He just told encounters. He just told y'all. It's crazy.
It's okay, Marvin, because what's going to happen is we are going to, you know, me and Ryan, you know, and I hope you and Ryan can bury the hatchet too.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to bury with him. You know what I mean? You know, and if you listening, Ryan, I apologize from the bottom of my heart if I said anything to offend you. Then I'm sorry, because I think, like I said though, I really do think if we can you know, collaborate together though, I think that we can really make a difference in here. You know, I mean, a difference in this cryptid community. You know what I mean? Because the way you tell encounter, the way I tell encounter, I mean, ain't nobody else going. It's nobody else gonna come behind us to tell it like we tell it. You know what I mean? So I think if we do that and we stick to it, we can just. I mean, we could just. You know what I mean? We could be at the top of this cryptid thing. You know what I mean? Because people love us. The subscribers gonna come. You know, Vic's he's staying at the helm. Almost 80,000. He's staying at the helm. We already know that. He's staying at the helm. You know what I mean? But once people start to listen and, you know what I mean, and think for themselves and learn, you know what I mean, and find out, okay, we're gonna go over here to these guys' channel.
There's so many people out there too, like that dummy from BF, you know, like, I mean, look at him. Why do you think, this is what I was trying to tell you way back a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Marvin, like, this guy, he saw us as a threat. He was perceptive enough to see that, you know, and he saw you and me as me becoming established, and you were a potential to become established and be something. And so he thought, oh, well, I'll just pit these two fools against each other, and bam, that's over for them. I'll crush them. I'll get rid of them, whatever. So, you know, this guy, another thing he did, he interviewed Dark Waters and Vic Hundiff back to back. And then he trash talked both of them. Now, this is the kind of person that we're dealing with. You know, when you deal with the kind of people like that, you know, a jackal who is all about themselves, self-serving, doing whatever. Yeah, they're going to see people like us as a threat, and then they have no recourse but to try to wage an underhanded saboteur war against us because they can't come out and compete with us. Because they suck at what they do.
I'm like this though. You know what I mean? I know certain people got big followings, and they got diehard fans. Man, I'm gonna go down here and find this. I'm gonna go down here and find this person. Now, that's the day that I go back to the old Marvin. Yeah. When they show up here, that's the day I go back to the old Marvin. You know what I mean? That's really the day I will go back to my old self if they show up here. You know what I mean? Because that's where they're gonna find them at, right here. And I deal with the consequences afterwards. But the thing is, though, I wanted to say, Far as the encounters, like even when I first went on the show, you know what I mean? You talking about 60,000 views in just an hour. I'm like, I never knew nothing. I never knew nothing about the views though. Josh, I never knew about they make money off of views. I'm just going on these shows back to back to back to back. 150,000, 120,000, 90,000, 120. I'm like, I never knew that it was money involved because I didn't get in here for this. I got in it because I loved it. You know what I mean? But I know that I'm a small fish in this pond. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I do got some ideas as far as merch and everything. You know what I mean? Because I got some ideas. I got some ideas out here. I got some ideas out here. I'm getting ready to flip, you know what I mean, the market on these cryptid things. Cause I got some shit out here that's gonna blow a motherfucker mind. I just ain't released it out there yet. But I got some slick shit. I'm put you down with it.
You gotta think about this though, Marvin. You know, the merchandising and all that. We didn't do that for the first year that I had the show. It takes time, you know, to build that brand.
Right.
But you got to stick with it, and you got to be consistent too. And you got to have like certain days where you just, no matter what, you're releasing a show. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's,
and
that day you're gonna.
And that's what I'm gonna keep on doing, though. But like I said, though, I've been doing this for what, 3 years now, doing it off my phone. You know what I mean? No income coming in or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Family helping me in here and there. Never really asked for nothing. Never really said, cause people have asked me, Marvin, set up a whatever you set up for the money and everything. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do it. But I never did it because this was a passion for me. I loved it to do this, because money, I'm gonna push that to the side. I ain't even worrying about that. I do it because I love it first and foremost. But I got ideas, and I want to put them out there because I look at people merch and I see what they got. So I said, okay, what can I come up with different than what they got? So I put a few plans down, put it down with my moderators and be like, yo, that's a good idea. Don't nobody got that. You know what I mean? So I got some ideas, man, that's gonna really blow it out the water. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Phrases that I say, you know what I mean? Because what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to start getting shit patent. Period.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start getting shit patent.
You gotta trademark things. That's what you gotta do, because the trademark is very important to get that done, but it's expensive. It's gonna cost money.
I mean,
let me tell you something. This person here, I wanted to say something, Marvin. This person, Isaiah Hand, said, "Why attack Vic? All three of you are passionate about this stuff." We just explained exactly why we had a problem with this guy, and it's not, you know, for Marvin, it's not necessarily personal. For Marvin, it's because he gave him his all and he got nothing for it. For me, he personally attacked me on the day my mother died. Now, people can't understand that. Then shame on them, because that's the post he made about, whenever he talked about people's wife dying of cancer or whatever. I don't want to bring all that up again, but that's something he did do that too. Then he turned around and told everybody shame on them for thinking bad about him. Why? Why should we be judged or policed because we have feelings and thoughts too? We wanted things. Marvin needed help, and I helped him. Vic didn't help him. Okay, that's something that I appreciate you though saying that, Marvin. I wasn't going to throw that out there or ever say anything about that, but I appreciate you saying that, because that means a lot that you remember, and I never threw that out there, but it's like, why couldn't Vic do it with all the money he made off of this guy? He couldn't give him something. Why is that? Explain that to me.
And you know what though? I said, I done been on his show numerous of times, you know what I mean? And then I respected the man, you know what I mean? Because he didn't alter my encounters or nothing like that. They were strictly how I told him. The way I gave him, the way he put them out there. The editing, he ain't do none of that. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it was for a reason or not, you know what I mean? And I always, in the beginning, like I said, I always looked at him as a friend, because he was always saying, stick to your stories and do your encounters and all like that. If you need me, I'll come on your show anytime, and you can come on mine. And you know, that's what he always told me. And that's why when I called on him, he came on my show. You know what I mean? So I got to sit back and evaluate the situation and you know what I mean, and make the best decisions for me. Because I'm not making nothing off of this, period. I'm not making nothing.
It's hard.
And it's hard though when you just doing it off your phone. I don't have the fancy equipment like everybody else got. You know what I mean? And like I said, Josh, I did it in the beginning because I was passionate with it. I didn't worry about no cameras. I didn't worry about no laptop. I didn't worry about none of that. I did it because I was passionate with it. You know what I mean? And one thing I want to tell you, Josh, when you was talking about the white Doug man, I had an eyewitness, like Ty J eyewitness that bonded with these creatures. I had one that was from Puerto Rico. And she said they would she said she would go up to the mountains every day. And she would you know, this white Doug creature used to come around. And she said that this thing used to stand up and walk over to her, and she would give it food and it would grab it out of her hand. You know, she used to lay down with it, and her grandmother used to always say, stay away from those things, stay away from those things. But she never paid her grandmother no attention. She used to always go up to the mountains and meet with these creatures. It was more than one, but the white one was like the alpha. But it was more than one. You know what I mean? She said it was like 5 of them. You know what I mean? But she said that the white one was the alpha. It would always stand up and walk over there and take food out of her hand. And she said she used to lay down with it and, you know, like cuddle with it. You know what I mean? And they said every time somebody would come around, it would jump down on all fours and get offensive and just growl. And she would be like, no, that's my sister, that's my sister, that's my sister. Your grandmother wants you. She told you don't be up here with these things, you know what I mean? But she said she had a bond with them that was like unbreakable. Because you don't find too many people that bond with these creatures. It's just not gonna happen. Period.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. And I was just so blessed to find 2 people that had a connection with these things that, I mean, it just blew my mind. You know what I mean? It really did. It blew my mind. You know what I mean? And I tell people, I say, stop believing in, you know, I mean, just stop believing in the impossible and believe in the impossible. Because I'm not going to say that it's impossible to bond with these creatures. Now, when you had Richard on the show, I mean, I think the guy with the glasses, whatever, on your show, as far as Rascal and not having no pictures of you raised this Doug man all the way up and not having no pictures, and people like, man, I ain't had no pictures. Come on, you should have had one picture. Which I think that it is true. You should have had at least one picture with this thing standing up.
Who is this guy?
The guy you had on your show. Richard?
Rascal. Richard? Are you talking about? Nah, Richard is that. He never had a friendly encounter. That was not.
Boy, that's the wrong guy. The guy you had on your show that raised the Doug man Rascal.
Are you talking about Stripes?
No, not Stripes. Rascal.
Nah,
you had him on your show, the guy that wore the glasses.
That's not me, man.
He was on your show, Josh. Josh, he was on your show. What is it? Can anybody in the chat tell me the name of the guy that was on Josh's show that raised the Doug man named Rascal?
I think that was Dogman Cams, dude. It wasn't me.
Robert.
That would have been cool.
Somebody said Robert Sharp.
Somebody on there. But...
Somebody said Robert Sharp.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I never had anybody named Robert Shaw on my show. Yeah.
Well, anything. He said he raised the Doug man Rascal from the government.
Yeah, I heard something about that. I don't know if it was on Dogman. I want to say Dogman Cams, but I'm not for sure because I don't want to lie and say that's who that was. But I'm pretty sure that I heard something like that. Like there was a person that had a Dogman pup he raised named Rascal or something like that. But
yes.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That wasn't.
You know what? He was on B show. He was on B show. He was on B show and B, Bettina.
Oh, okay.
He was on B show and
he
said that he raised him since a pup, and he got to like 8-9 feet tall, and he used to hunt, climb trees, race race cars and all that. He killed three Gugwees. He killed 2 rakes. He killed 5 Dugmans and 2 Bigfoots. I'm like, this is Sir's Dugman. They kill all them.
Yeah.
But yet you ain't got a picture of them.
Yeah, that sounds kind of ridiculous. I don't know what that is, but I heard something like that. This guy's name, like saying the rascal, whatever. Yeah, I have no idea who that is, man. That's not me.
He wanted to come on. He wanted to come on my show, so I'm like, after I heard that, I'm like, come on, man. You ain't got a picture. And you raised this thing from a pup, and you ain't got one picture. And it's crazy. Now, I had an eyewitness in Virginia, and she said she seen a family of them, mother, father, and 2 little pups, where she caught pictures of them. And I had Vic on the phone at the time, so I was like, Vic was like, see if they she'll give you the film and all that, let you see them. I'm like, I'm gonna ask. I'm like, you think I can see the pictures of these pups in the family and everything? She said, okay, but then she turned around and said, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do it because I don't know what you're gonna do with it. You know what I mean? And I respected that. But it's like he kept ask. I'm like, come on, man, it's crazy. It's she never showed me. She never showed me. You know what I mean? But she said she had them. Because they walk across her property every day, clockwise. The whole family. And she took pictures of them. But she never came, to tell me, she just said she wasn't gonna do it. The thing about it though, I always ask people, let me ask you, Josh, what do these pups look like when they young? If you know.
The only thing I know.
Some people say they look like a bat. I don't know.
The only thing I know is what was told to me by Abel, and when he got stripes, it was not a puppy anymore. It was already like a juvenile.
What's the scene inside though?
Bye. I'm doing live. Bye. You said it was a pup?
Yeah, it was already like a juvenile-looking creature when he got it.
And you know what? Somebody asked that guy that I was just Robert, that I was just talking about. He said somebody from India raised a Doug man, and he asked the guy we was just talking about. He said, "What's about their armpits that you can tell me?" Robert said, Rascal just had thick armpits with a lot of hair on it. So basically, he was asking him that he knew something that was about their armpits that he thought that he was going to answer, but he didn't. So do you think they emit a smell from their armpits?
From what I've been told and from what I believe and what I hear is that these things stink all the time. Now, the one that came pretty close to me, probably 30 feet away, maybe at the most, did not emit a smell that I noticed that I could, because and it was like, there's so many things that were going on at one time that I don't remember a smell. I mean, there might have been, I don't know. Now, my friend's sister had said that there was like a weird smell in the alley between the two houses, like after that encounter. But I personally don't remember that. So
right. And another thing, I don't know if you knew, Josh. My mother Cherokee Indian, and when she was a little girl, she told us when she was a little kid. I never paid no attention. She was like, "I want to tell y'all something what happened. Happened when I was a little kid." She said every day that she would walk home, she said these giant black dogs will follow her. So every time she would stop, she would look back. They would stop, but they wouldn't growl or nothing at her. So she would walk, and she said once she got to her door, they would stand up on their hind legs. Now, my mother told us this one time and one time only, and she would never talk about it again. I would ask her. She said, "I don't want to talk about it." She said, "I told you about these things, these big dogs that would stand up on their back legs." And you know what I mean? My mother, she looked at, I thought she was white. Now you look at me, I'm brown skinned. My mother was purely white. And I'm gonna send you a picture of her. And when you see it, you can be like, hold up, no, this can't be his mother. I mean, she could ride on the front of the bus. You know what I mean? So, but she used to tell us about these creatures and say they used to follow her home. And she said they was just so big, even on four legs. But they would stop every time she stopped, and she would look back, and they would just look at her. But they never tried to hurt her or nothing like that. And I never pushed the issue or asked her, be like, Mom, what was they wasn't. She just said, I don't want to talk about it no more. And she never did.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. It's been good, and I gotta go, man. I got
Hey,
work I gotta take care of.
absolutely, absolutely, Josh. Hey, I appreciate you coming on and, you know, and talking to me and letting the people know everything that we squared everything out. And like I said, man, I definitely want to do some work, you know what I mean? Because I said I think we can make a difference in this cryptid community, man. Because like I said though, man, it's nobody gonna come after us, man. It's just not, you know what I mean? So
Well,
when
here's the thing: you're going to have to be prepared for this, and I'm going to say this to the audience that's listening. There, you know, the people that we're dealing with are very crafty individuals, and they're very self-serving and self-centered individuals, and they did things against us, you know, and one of them in particular has a huge fan base, and if you speak out against him, his disciples will definitely come for blood, dude. I'm telling you. And so, you know, you coming out and even just saying, hey, you know, I feel like I should get something. That's not. They're not going to let that go unchallenged. So, just be prepared for, you know, a fallout. You know, and know that, you know, you're not alone. That this is a situation that will always be there. You know, because if you try to go, you know, backtrack or whatever, you know, he's probably not going to be too happy with you, like pointing out the truth, because that's not something he peddles in, is the truth. So you coming clean too means the world to me. You apologizing for the things that were said. I know there were some really horrible things that were said, and we said them. We talked about them earlier in the show. I'm not going to rehash that, but you admitted it, and that means the world to me. And that was the deciding factor in me being willing to come and talk to you today, because you said, look, I'm willing to come forward and say, yeah, I said these things and I was wrong, and I mistold the stories and I was wrong. And that right there shows me that you're a real man. And in our talk earlier today, you know, it just confirmed that you've been through, you know, you've been to hell and back. You've been through hell like me, you know, and I hope that because there were some things that were done, you know, to Ryan, and I hope that you can also
I mean, like I said, Josh, if you can reach out to him, you can tell him to call me or whatever, and I apologize. You know what I mean, when he called me, man, because Ryan, if you listen, man, I truly apologize if I said anything to offend you. You know what I mean, to make you mad or whatever. But just call me, man, and we can talk it out, man. Because like I said though, I mean, I really want to take this to another level. You know what I mean? I want to, you know what I mean? I want other podcasts to be like, man, they just rose up overnight. You know what I mean? Because I know if I stick to my guns and do what I'm good at, I'm going to reach it.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to look at it like you said earlier. One of the things you said earlier is most important, you know, is that you got to do what's best for you. And people are like, get angry or whatever because, you know, you're not going to sit there and kiss, you know, ass to Vic and be like, whatever. You do, as I do deserve something. I mean, you know, we gave this guy everything and he took it. And then all he ever did was give you an attaboy, pat on the back, well, goodbye. You know, and that's real easy to people to sit back and go, oh, you know, he made y'all, he did this, he did that. No, we made him. Okay? That's the difference. People don't want to admit, they don't want to understand. And then the people, the little punks that want to, you know, cut for that other dude that did what he did. He backstabbed Ryan, he backstabbed me. You know, all for me, it was all because I wouldn't help him grow a group. which I did not like, because in that group they like to attack people who had differing opinions, and they also like to attack women. It was like their thing. It was like this, and I don't want people to come after you, because some people were saying, oh, Marvin, it said some things about women, whatever. What you said, it was said in anger, and I know that's what it was, and I forgive you, and I hope that everybody else is listening out there can understand that we're human beings, and we trash talked each other, and we went back and forth, and there was harassment, on both sides, and it was also done by the listeners too. There was a lot of harassment that was done by listeners, and a few of those, we got rid of them today. Like, we just, we cut them loose and told them, hey man, these people need their walking papers, dude. I mean, if you're going to be in our group or a part of anything that we're doing, there can't be any racial, there can't be any gender bias or racial whatever. We all need to play in the same sandbox and be nice, But like I said before, my beef with this gentleman that me and Marvin have in common, what he did, he could reach out to me, and he could say, hey, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for the attacks. I'm sorry for letting my people go crazy on you. I'm sorry that I did that on the day your mom died. He didn't do that. He's never done that, and he's never going to apologize. He's not known for apologizing ever for anyone, for anything he's ever done. And he's had beef with a ton of different people. In case you didn't know that, the listeners that want to defend this guy, he's gone after some very good friends of mine too in this community who I don't, and I feel like he used you, Marvin, and and even Ryan. Ryan went on his show and he took Ryan's encounter and was very robotic. Well, goodbye. That's just kind of how he is. That's what he does. He doesn't appreciate your work that you do for him. Yeah, he'll come on your show, but that's not necessarily the help. All that's doing is him coming on the show, and just he's not really like a great interview either. To tell you the truth, he was on my show one time, and I never brought him back on. And I'll tell you right now why. I didn't want him back on because there was nothing else to talk about. He doesn't have anything to say. I mean, there's very little that there is to glean from him. He doesn't do footwork like we do, and research. He doesn't go out and do any interviewing of people that are gonna. People come on his show, they come to him and they just talk on the phone. He doesn't go and meet with people. He doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't do any of the kind of work that we do. He doesn't retell their stories.
Right.
He doesn't do any of that. And so to me, there's not any kind of there's no real pay. There's nothing to be gained by dealing with him. So when I told everybody, I'm like, I'm not going to deal with him anymore. He didn't correct any of the things that were. He could have done that with you, and it could have been like an easy thing. Could have just, and then that would have been the end of it. Instead, it got drug out into this whole mess that we ended up having to clean up tonight, and today. And we spent, me and you and Bettina Moss, we spent, 3.5 hours on the phone today talking.
Right.
Yeah, trying to get all this situated, and it's a shame, that everything had to come down to, this arguing and bickering and whatever. And like I said, some of the things you said kind of offended me and annoyed me, but I think it more so offended and annoyed other people, and those people I care about. So then I was like forced to kind of, have to say something, because to me it was just kind of amusing. I was just like, this dude, because I get you. I get it. You're hood, man. You're street, man, and you're real. And thing is, folks, I came up like that. I came up like fighting in the street, man. When I was a little kid, my dad's best friend was black in South Taylor. And I grew up, and it was the black neighborhood was right there next to the Mexican neighborhood. And my dad would drop me off at my friend's house to go play in the summertime. And we'd all be out there playing baseball, playing football, whatever. And you know what? We start fighting. Coolio's got a song about that. He's like fight in the street like little black soldiers and then shake hands when it was over. I remember, you know what I mean? It's like, the good old days. That's how it was with us. We start fighting.
Right.
And I was the only white boy out there, and I'm only half, and I was out there fighting with them, just fighting like everybody else, and you go back to playing baseball. We're done. You got your busted lip, and you go back to playing baseball, and you just do what you got to do. And I spent a lot of time locked up as a kid. When I was young, I did some stupid things, dude. You know, like really dumb things. If I told you all these dumb things I did, you'd be like, damn, this dude's unhinged. You know, like, I mean, it just was, man. I mean, you know, we were playing around with a gat one time, you know, and we got a little carried away. And then next thing you know, police are like, hey, you know, you got to go to timeout. You know, you got stupid things you do. You know, you get in some trouble. And I was a kid, but I learned, you know, and unfortunately our system is set up to where it just makes you a better criminal, and you learn to get away with things better. And so when I got older, I got better at doing that shit. But then by the time I was, you know, 2005, 2006, I was done. I was absolutely done with being a bad dude and doing bad things. And I thought, I don't ever want to be this person again, you know. And my grandma died, and I changed my life. I gave my life back to God, where it belonged, you know, back to Christ. And I hope, Marvin, that you will stay on the path, not relapse, not do anything crazy. Don't let people drive you to that. Don't let people trip you up. You know, you made your mistakes, and like you said, you paid for it. And I'm moving forward, and I hope everybody else can move forward too. And I hope that everybody that's listening out there can learn from this, that no matter how bad something is between people, that there has to be forgiveness in your heart. You have to do it. There is no other way, because that's the road. The other way is the road to perdition. You know.
And it really ain't though, Josh. Like I said though, I appreciate you you coming on tonight and talk about a few encounters, man. And we can you know, we move past this thing, man, and move on, man, and start working together. You know what I mean? Because that's what I really want. You know what I mean? I want to start working together and doing some things, man. And like I said, I think we can make a change.
Yeah, and as far as like collaborating and whatever else, you know, I'm very busy and I'm booked for a lot. But if I can find the time, you know, to come on once in a while and we can talk, or you can come on maybe one day, we can do that. And if I don't have time, you know, don't take offense. Like I've told everybody, I'm very backed up, man. I'm very backed up. We got so many episodes already recorded that like that one we dropped tonight, we recorded that. Anthony just got in the car. How long ago was it we recorded that? Like a month ago? Yeah. It was like a month ago we recorded that sucker. I mean, so, you know, we're really backed up, but, you know, it ain't nothing personal. I got some people, you know, who kind of came at me sideways because they were like, well, you know, you held our show, you know, for so long. And then this other guy, he was mad at me because I never released his. I said, well, you know, I just didn't have time. And then by that point, my co-host was a wholly different person. It was gone. The other person was gone.
Right.
And so, you know, I never dropped that episode, you know. And then one of my biggest regrets is that I recorded with Paul Sinclair, great author, good guy from, you know, Britain. And I never released that either because we were supposed to go back and finish because we only got about an hour and we were supposed to finish. And so I don't know where we left off, and so we just kind of never released it, you know. And I hope that someday we can come back and he can record with us and do some stuff, you know, whatever. But I mean, tonight the conversation we had and the way that we dealt with things is as real as it gets. I will say this though, Marvin, and I'm going to say this publicly. Okay, you did say that you're going to talk to Ryan, you're going to apologize to him. Now, whether he will accept it or not, it's completely up to him. He's his own man, like I am. He's a grown man, and I can't force him to do anything.
That's why I asked you, can you reach out to him first and let him know, get in contact with me. First and foremost, I'm apologize as a man. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for everything I said about him or to him. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. But I want to apologize to him, you know what I mean, on the phone, whatever, Facebook, it don't matter. I want to apologize to him as a man, you know what I mean? Because I want to move on for this, man. I don't want to keep bickering and going back and this person doing this and this person doing that, man. That's just, it's petty. That's like, it's childish, you know? And we just let other people get the best of us, you know what I mean? And like you said, that person, though, that started it off, it's like he just used shit as he was like a military person. You know, he knew how to put shit in place. I'm gonna do this first. So I mean, he calculated it just right. You know what I mean? So he you know what I mean? Whatever he went out to do, he did it because he brought us. You know what I mean? Brought us to heads with each other.
Yeah, and he had told, you know, Ryan, you know, point blank that he was going to do this, and that, and Ryan when at that point Ryan had broken away from him, and he came to me and he said, this is what he said he was going to do, and I laughed. I thought it was silly and stupid, and then I fell right into it. But the laughing's over. We were. I was on to him for a while, and I was hoping that you would see it. But we finally got to talk and get it out, and get it done. And I hope that you stay the course and you stay on your own, and don't go give your stuff away to anybody else again, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that either.
Yeah, I definitely ain't doing that no more.
No, it's over for me, and hopefully for you, you can do that and move on or whatever. And let's just agree at this point, that we made mistakes, and you heard tonight, folks, two men talking real. And if that offends some people, like I said, everything you do, some people will gnash their teeth and others will jump for joy. But in the end, they have to accept that things are the way they are.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like I said, Josh, I ain't going to hold you up. You know what I mean? I thank you for coming on and expressing yourself, man, and talking to, and talking to subscribers, man. And like I said, though, man, a lot of your people came over and joined my group tonight, man. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful, man, that they did that, because I'm trying to move up in this and trying to make a change, man, and find out what these things really are, man. What's their purpose here? You know what I mean? Is they here to just kill or kidnap, or is they here to guard, or these things that we need to find out? You know what I mean? We need to find out things like that. What is their purpose here? Do they want to be just left alone? You know what I mean? Or is they curious? Or, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that we don't know, so.
Every time we get an answer, we get more questions, and I honestly don't think that they're good. I can tell you that. I mean, I really don't.
Oh, because my granddaughter was just telling me, right? I was out here sitting on the porch, pitch black, you can't see nothing. So she looks out I guess she looks out the window, and she kept tapping on the window trying to tell me, right? I don't know why my granddaughters keep saying these things constantly, but I don't see them. But she keeps seeing them. Every time she out, every time, Josh, she keeps seeing them. And she got pictures of them in her phone. So I don't know why they show themselves to kids so much. I don't know if it's because they innocent. They don't see them as a threat. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think children are born, they still have that veil is lifted. When I was born, my abuelita said I had ojo dotado. The ojo dotado is the gift of the eye, or the gifted eye. It basically tells you, like the third eye, because there was a time when I was working at a building in Round Rock, the outskirts of Round Rock, Texas, where I know that there was a dog man there, and I know there was. It was right outside, and I could see it in my third eye, but I couldn't see with my physical eye, and I knew it was there.
Right.
And I spent that night. One of these days, maybe I'll come on and I'll talk about that. Maybe one day, I don't know. But I spent a night just in terror, and I never saw it. I didn't see it. That was the night I heard the three pops. I never had heard it and saw it at the same time. Like the night I saw the dog man, I didn't hear the three pops or anything like that. But that night I did hear the pops from the woods when I was walking around doing my outside patrol, and I never went out there again in that area. I stayed indoors after that. And one night I was so convinced that there was something there that I just, it was a night of absolute terror for me. And I never saw anything.
Right.
I just knew it was there,
Right. But like I said, though, Josh, man, I ain't gonna hold you up. I know you got, go tend to your family, whatever, and do things, man. I appreciate you coming on, and we getting this out the way, man, and severing our differences, man, and hopefully, man, we can start doing something in the future.
Yeah, and just try to move on, be positive, everybody. And I know some of your people probably don't like me. They probably don't like us because of all the stuff that went on. But if two people can squash beef and do it, and move on, and just go and live their lives in the proper way to live and move in the right direction, that's all you can ask for. You know, and that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I hope all of you listening at home will think of that, do that, and think, hey, you know, these people are an example of how, you know, people should proceed with their lives, and you know, squashing beef is something that everybody needs to freaking take a part of. You know, they need to take a bite of that, you know. Letting things go is one of the hardest things you'll ever do and to learn to do. And people have asked me this before about my situation with Cundiff, and will I ever let that go? Will I, you know, I'm not going to hold the grudge for the rest of my life, but at this point in time, I have no idea, because it was, my mother just died back in May. And, you know, when she died, you know, he did say what he said on the day she died, just a few hours after I made a post about it. And I didn't make that post for my listeners. That was for people who, family and friends who lived. My mother was Latina, and so a lot of family, a lot of people who knew her, a large family, you know. And so I was making that post, hey, my mom is gone on. And just a few hours later, I get, you know, him saying what he said, then an avalanche of hate, you know. So it's just kind of like, you know, you live and learn. And I didn't know at that time that me and him were really enemies, but I guess I learned, you know, and I think that he did it in a way to where he wanted, I think he wanted me to react, and he didn't get the reaction he wanted. He wanted me to flip out, you know, and I didn't do it. I ended up breaking down and just wanted to quit, you know, and there was an individual that's in your group that apparently has been saying some things about my mother passing on. That's another thing I wanted to address real quick. I'm going to tell that person right now, I forgive you for what you've done or said in the past. Just don't do it anymore, because that's something that I really take personal, is the thing about my mom. You want to talk about my mom? That's something that, you know, we can definitely, like, that'll definitely start something, you know, and it ain't going to be between me and you, Marvin. It's going to be between me and that person, because I am who I am, and, you know, I'm not going to let somebody run my mom down. She's gone to the next life, and as a Hispanic individual, it's very sacred to us and to all individuals, but in particular, our culture, you don't talk ill of the dead, because it invites a padrika on you, and you don't want that. And so, you know, this person, he needs to apologize to me about that, you know, and not do it again. That's the thing. I don't cut for that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that, Josh, man. And like I said, man, I thank you for coming on tonight. Man, I reached the most people I have ever reached in my life, and that's a blessing, because a lot of people have came over to my a lot of people have came over to my channel and joined. So I'm blessed.
Yeah, and anybody who's a listener of your show, you know, y'all want to come and join Paranormal Roundtable, and don't forget about Ryan's show, Whisper to a Scream. Like I said, I hope Ryan will forgive you, and y'all can bury it, you know. He's pretty hurt, and he's pretty upset, and like we all are, and all were. And I talked to my team extensively about that, me, my nephews, my wife, everybody. And after the conversation I had with you and with Bettina, I decided that it was in our best interest and in y'all's best interest if we did a live stream and we talked this out, because a war doesn't do anything but hurt you. It's only going to, like, cause people to be turned off. They don't want to go to your channel, and every time they come on the channel, you're fighting and beefing with somebody. They don't want that. People don't want to hear all that mess. You know, they're not there. They're not there for that. You know. But tonight had to happen. It had to happen, and we had to come together. And, you know, at this point in time, the other two individuals, I don't have forgiveness in my heart for them. I may one day forgive them. You know, one of them in particular, just what he did was so beyond the pale. I just can't even. I don't even know where he gets the ability to sleep. I mean, it's just like sociopathic behavior. But and the other guy is just a calculating villain. That's all I can say about him. You know, he did what he did, and he's going to do what he does. And he hurt us all. You know, and I just wish that we could move on from that.
Right.
You know, and he set this all up, you know, I mean, so, and it sparked, you know, this whole thing that just kind of kept going, you know. But they were in the comment section, you know, when you did that second live stream where you were angry and stuff, and I saw them in there. I didn't really watch the live stream that you did. I was driving. I was going to another town, so I didn't really have time to. But I was people were reading me the comments, you know, and I was like, oh, okay. And we saw them in there, you know, talking their trash and whatever, and thinking that they had me, you know, that it was a beat down on me or something, you know. But what they don't realize is that people like me and you have a lot more in common than I thought we did, you know. And
absolutely, we do got more in common.
So just keep doing what you're doing, Marvin, and it was good talking to you. I'm going to check out, folks, and everybody. I appreciate y'all being generous and having me on and actually listening to what I had to say. And everybody that came on the chat.
Thank you so much again, Josh. And like I said, though, I'm gonna keep in touch. I ain't gonna be a stranger. When I'm going through something, I'm gonna make sure I call you.
Okay, I'll see you, Marvin.
All right, Josh. Thank you again.
All right,
bye. Y'all see it? He came on. He kept his word, and he apologized as a man. And I just want to move on for that. I want to move on from that. I want to start working with him and doing some things. So let's do that, y'all. Let's move on and work with some things and go from there. But for most of the part, how did y'all think the show went?
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's raining. So.
How did y'all think the show went? I think it went good. I think it did. I think we accomplished something. We got some PRT members over this channel, and we over and it's gonna go up though. This gonna go up. But it's almost 1:30. And I'm blessed, man, that he came on here, man, and he he poured it out and he told y'all everything. So we got that out the way. We got that out the way, y'all.
Okay, I'm here. Close to there. Can I mind it from here? No, I'm only one block off.
We got that out the way.
Oh, no! You're one block higher.
And we're gonna move on and
Oh!
Mama, can you turn that down a little bit?
You pushed me! You pushed
Please.
me! I was doing it! Okay. I was falling down. I fell down. It was only
We're gonna move on from that.
What's this?
We're gonna move on from that and see if we can make some good stuff, you know. So I'm grateful for everybody that showed up in the chat. You know what I mean? This might be a record that we broke. How many members, you know what I mean? How many people showed up and all that. You talking about 150, you know what I mean? 130, 140, you know. So I want to thank everybody that showed up and showed out. And I'm going to see y'all on the next True Encounter. Good night, Carlito. Good night, Nugi. Good night, Marquetta. Good night, everybody that showed up. You know what I mean? Y'all probably don't even want to leave yet, do y'all? Let me know something then. Tell me something.
No! It's flying away. We need the end of Poe. I'm just flying away. How is it after?
I'm going to post on I got another I'm going to upload another Ty J encounter. Now this next one, I'm gonna give y'all a preview of my encounter. Now, what I'm gonna title it is Another Cryptid. Now, all she used to see was the alpha and the two young ones, which they grew up now. They big now. But one day, she catch a glimpse of a female that's with one of his kids, and she like brown in color. I don't want to spoil alert, but when I upload it and post it, tune in, because it's going to be a good one. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to upload this. I agree. I mean, I'm happy and thankful for everybody that showed up and showed out. And I'm going to see y'all on the next live stream. I love y'all. Good night, y'all.
There's two at least. Okay, there's eight. I hear lava. I can't get it. Oh, I got it.